I'll be back.
And welcome back to Halloween Schlock the double feature podcast that celebrates all movies from the slimy to the ghoulish. As always, I'm Lindsay Wilkins. And after taking a brief hiatus in the burn unit, Michael Myers is back with a double of Dwight H. Little's Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and James Cameron's seminal The Original Terminator. Look, when Myers or Arnold say they're going to be back, they're gonna be back. And here with me is one of the biggest cinema lovers I know, and also the host of You Could Have Been a Bloodfist movie. It is, of course, the cinema drunkie. It is Robb Antequera. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey, Lindsay, how's it going? Thank you for having me on this wonderful, wonderful double feature here. Oh, how wonderful this double is.
Yeah, I'm the one who suggested this because you are usually the king of this. I'll suggest something and you go, what about this? I'm like, oh, fuck you, Robb. I love it. Why didn't I think of this? And so usually that's what happens. So I threw out the Terminator thinking, and you're going to come something back that's going to blow my mind. And you're like, no, let's do fucking Terminator. I'm like going, yes.
I know. Like you came into me and it was like, oh, unless you got something better. I'm like, no, this is perfect. This is perfectly fine. I'm with this.
I mean, it is the Terminator. This is no slouch of a movie.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, because I was just saying, or kind of off mic, that, you know, you can kind of tell how much influence the Terminator had on later genre movies, even though we're doing this backwards because I have so many notes for the freaking Terminator. It's not funny. But yeah, it's going to be such a fun double. And I think I love the fact that the Terminator kind of does have horror elements, even though it's not overly considered a horror movie. But we will get into it. More importantly, how are you going?
I'm doing fine. Can't complain. Everything's going copacetic over here, you know, so yeah, just chilling.
You working on any Bloodfist episodes, or possibly, I know you've got a new project, but I won't say what it is until it actually comes up, but I'm very excited about it.
Oh, yes. That is a top secret thing at the moment. We will be start putting out stuff eventually, but yeah, I'm going to keep that secret just for a bit. But yeah, with You Could Have Been a Bloodfist movie, I've taken a bit hiatus because my idea is because there are 8 films in the Bloodfist series of movies. I'm going to basically do only 8 episodes per season.
Yes, you did mention this. Yeah. Yes, very smart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also a way for me to combat burnout. So like I don't get too burnt out, you know, doing everything. So I'll pace myself real nice, do 8 episodes, take a little break, and then come back with another 8 episodes. And yeah, I definitely got some stuff planned. Definitely want to get you on for the next season. And we've been talking about it. And
yes.
We picked a great pairing
for
that one. Yeah, so that one's going to be a lot of fun. And I've accumulated a lot of great guests. And it's going to be a fun one, this new season coming up.
No, because your previous season has been really great. I mean, you've had Andy Gorham on, you've had Matt Essery, you've had a whole host of people who are really smart about this genre, who actually know not only know action really well, but also know the direct-to-video action, which is its own gorgeous, beautiful kind of thing. So it's kind of been an education going along with the show. And I'm kind of, so no, I'm very much looking forward to the next season because where you take the movies and how you kind of fit them into the Bloodfist is just always, that's always my favorite part of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And with that, we are going to be getting in to its own little secret of its own series with its own intricacies, timelines, and bizarre things happening. I mean, you can put Michael Myers anywhere, but this is, you can specifically, well, no, you can see what this is doing because this is Halloween 3, as much as I love it, did not work. for the general public who are like, what the hell is this Irish George thing? And now Michael Myers is ready to come back. And this is actually, I know this movie's actually come up in popularity, but it's a gorgeous, perfect example of that kind of autumn, kind of change of season kind of movie. And we're going to get into it. So curtains are opening. We're going to be showing Halloween 4. What is your first trailer for this movie?
I'm going to be very basic and go with Halloween H2O.
Got mail.
Birthday card.
It's only 2 months late. I'm impressed.
Cash is good. I'm gonna need it when I go to Yosemite.
You're not going.
No, I'm going to Yosemite.
No, you're not.
Look, I know today is the day, but I think...
Oh, really? What day is that, John?
Halloween.
Oh, I hadn't noticed.
Mom, we're through with all that.
Ronnie, the phones are out.
There's a strange car parked down at the gate, but I can't seem to find any signs of trespassing. What are you doing? Hey.
I'm just gonna go find John.
I love it. The first Halloween movie I ever saw in a theater.
I actually, unfortunately, saw Halloween 5 in theater.
I'm sorry. I feel I need to apologize.
No, that was definitely not your fault. That is definitely on the fault of filmmakers for making that future test. I don't know if I hate a movie more than Halloween 5. I absolutely despise that movie. I think it's the worst Halloween. Let me just completely switch off because I'll be here all night talk about how much I fucking hate Halloween 5. Halloween H2O I thought was perfect. I love Halloween H2O. I saw it 3 times, and it did twice on the opening weekend.
Oh wow!
I absolutely loved it. I picked it because of course it's keeping in with Halloween. Also, it's part of my theory that the best Halloweens are the anniversary ones, like the sequels. There's Halloween 4. There's Halloween H2O, which was 20 years later. Halloween 4, of course, was 10 years later.
Oh yes, I just realized. Oh, it is 10 years later.
And then Halloween 2018, of course, was 40 years later.
Yes.
They didn't have a 30 years later one because they did Rob Zombie's Halloween, which came out in 2007, not 2008.
Yeah.
Which proves my theory that it's the anniversary ones that work because I'll get into that. I love Halloween H2O. I think it's a perfect design. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. It's what I consider perfect slasher movie structure, where you start off with the killer. But this is why Halloween is looked upon as the blueprint, because it has the perfect structure where you introduce your antagonist, his backstory. You introduce him as a legitimate threat to everyone, and then after that, you unleash him upon this world that you created. You introduce us to our main protagonists, the kids, who are going to become, unfortunately, a lot of them are going to become victims.
Yes.
And then, around the third act, you have worlds collide, and then it just becomes, suspense and stuff. And that's what Halloween did so perfectly, which is why it's looked upon as the blueprint of slasher movies. And I believe Halloween H2O does that exceptionally well. Where it does the same thing. It reintroduces Michael as a threat. Him getting back to work, being absolutely vicious in his murders, and then it introduces us to the new characters, and then when worlds collide, it just becomes just a complete beautiful level of suspense that hangs on until the final cut to black end credits.
It really does. I have not seen this for a few years. It's definitely going to come up in the rewatch. I know that I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. As I said, it's the first Halloween I'd seen in the theater. So this was my introduction. Actually, I know I saw Halloween after Scream. So this might have been, this is my Halloween. And it makes complete sense that Dimension, who already had the rights to this, would revamp it after Scream because they figured out how to do a slasher that the public responded to. It's like, oh, they like the Scream thing. Okay. Kevin Williamson, pump up the script. Okay, we'll get Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams, and we'll bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, who I remember being fantastic. But I remember that final moments in H2O, and just it's almost like a fist pump. Like, and you don't get that in a lot of Halloween endings. Right. Even this one, you don't necessarily get that. Yes, he's vanquished. Evil died tonight. Sorry, I keep doing that. No,
it's all good. It's all good. I mean,
I either get into a rant about Halloween 5 or I mark Halloween Kills. That's either one of the two.
Right. No, but it makes sense that it was Williamson who came on to revamp it because with Scream, he was very inspired by Halloween.
He was.
And Scream was like his throwback to like how much Halloween meant to him, and like he wanted to do his own slasher film, but paying tribute to Halloween. So like him doing Halloween H2O, it kind of came full circle because Scream would not exist without Halloween, and Halloween H2O would not exist without Scream.
Exactly.
So it's that kind of perfect, circle of events, where it's just like everything just worked out beautifully. And I wish they would have just let it end at H2O, but unfortunately they decided to continue. But we will not get into that.
Resurrection.
Oh God.
No, it's kind of weird because me and Patrick did talk about Scream which hasn't been released on this thing, but we did say that exact thing, that how you don't get Scream without Halloween. He had just gone to see Scream, by the way, so which is why we were talking about it a lot.
I know, that was where me and him saw it together.
Yes,
actually.
You did. Yes, you got to hang out at the Pennsylvania drive-in that I now need to fly thousands of miles to go to because everyone's going to it. Even Daniel, who's just been there, Daniel Epler.
The weekend after me and Patrick went, everybody was just like, oh, but that was the first time either of us had seen Scream on the big screen.
Yes.
So we seen all the other Screams except the original Scream on the big screen. So that was very important to us, and we got to do it together. So that's a wonderful thing.
And I sort of said, Wes Craven was kind of paying tribute as well, as much as Kevin Williamson was to the original Halloween and John Carpenter. And I still think Scream is his best directed movie, just in terms of nuts and bolts, where to put the camera and action, all that kind of thing. And I kind of will always have that. And because of what Scream meant to me, still haven't seen Scream in a theater either. In H2O, in those kind of movies of urban legend and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I know what you did last summer.
I know you did last summer, and H2O are all kind of in this blender of movies that just mean a lot to me because these are the movies I was watching in the late 90s. It was that kind of perfect mix of me becoming an older teenager, having all the TV people I'd already kind of gotten associated with now in these movies, and I'm loving them. And it was just that perfect mix of like Dawson's Creek, Party of Five, sort of coming together in this weird soup. And just me like going, yes, please. This is a fantastic trailer to show before Halloween 4, because Halloween, as we'll get into, is such a product of its time as well. My first trailer, I am actually going to go with a Mike Flanagan movie that doesn't get as talked about as much as his other oeuvre, but I'm going to go Before I Wake from 2016.
You ready?
I think so.
Cody, this is Mr. and Mrs. Hobson.
Hi there.
Good morning.
He likes butterflies.
I love this room.
I think you'll make wonderful foster parents.
Who's that?
That's our son, Sean.
Where is he?
He's in heaven. Try and get some sleep, Cody.
Good night.
You saw him.
Let's welcome Cody.
Why do you have these pills, Cody?
I don't like to sleep. My dreams.
What happens when you dream?
Something's not right. I have to find out more about Cody's dreams. You've heard this before. Your son doesn't want to sleep.
When I was watching these kind of movies, I kind of felt that I was on to a secret of this Mike Flanagan guy that no one else kind of knew. I think I wasn't. I just felt that way. Like this Ouija Origin of Evil. And I was like, yeah, this Mike Flanagan guy's got it going on. And of course, then he makes the masterpiece of 2019, Dr. Sleep. But yeah, this is a really cool little movie. It's just a really great idea. It is just really solid. Kate Bosworth adopts a kid whose dreams are now suddenly coming true, and it's really effective. I should watch this movie again because I haven't seen it for a while and I love it. I don't love it, but I really, really like it.
I have actually never seen Before I Wake.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I am a huge fan of Mike Flanagan. I also discovered him on well, that's weird to say I discovered him, but
yeah,
I discovered his work and how good he is for Ouija Origin of Evil. I had not seen Oculus, that missed me, but I did see Origin of Evil, and I was blown away by how good it was to the point where it actually made me want to see, because Ouija Origin of Evil is a prequel to Ouija, which came before it. And it made me want to see that because, oh my God, this is so great. I want to see the one that came before it, which is, and that movie sucks.
It really does. I fell in the same thing. Oh, maybe Ouija isn't as bad as people say. No, it is absolutely as bad as people say.
It is really bad.
Which is why Origin of Evil is such a surprise. And you realize, oh, because Mike Flanagan directed it. No, I saw Oculus first, and I think that movie is a little shaggy in parts, but I think just because you've got Karen Gillan is just a really great presence on screen, Mike Flanagan kind of already feels like he actually really loves making horror. Like he just keeps doing it no matter how big he gets. It's like, now just let me do Poe, Netflix. Let me do all this kind of other stuff. Like he keeps wanting to be in it. He's not stretching out to other genres. And you got the feeling with Oculus, he's like, no, I'm trying to scare you. And he keeps doing that. But then he's like, but I'm so interested in the characters. And which I think is the great mix. Yes, he's now into his monologues, but because I think he's just so interested in the characters, he wants to know what the horror is like for them. And you definitely see that in Before I Wake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely got to check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what is going to be your second trailer for Halloween 4?
I'm going to continue being basic here, but I'm going to be a little different and go with Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007.
You haven't said a word for 15 years.
This summer, Rob Zombie unleashes a unique vision of a legendary tale.
Is the boogeyman real? Why are you so obsessed with the boogeyman, Tommy? Halloween night, the boogeyman attacks kids who don't believe. Oh no, Tommy! The boogeyman's gonna get me!
I'm gonna cut that mask right off your face.
Yeah, nice. This.
I mean, oh, go ahead, Lindsay.
Oh no, you go, because I still have no idea how I feel about this movie.
I know how I feel about it, and I don't like it. I just felt it was a perfect example of, like I was saying, that the best Halloween sequels are the anniversary sequels, and I felt like had this one been released on 2008 on the 30th anniversary, probably would have been better, or maybe it would have been better had it been done by somebody else. Because with Rob Zombie, he is, I guess, because of the Halloween movies, he's a divisive figure in horror.
Yes.
Because it's like with his two Halloween films, it's like you have people on opposite sides. There's nobody in the middle, where it's like people who absolutely love them or people who absolutely loathe them.
Yes.
I don't know if I absolutely loathe it, but I really don't like it. It is I feel like he is the absolute wrong person to be doing traditional slashers, because with traditional slashers, all the best ones, the one thing you notice, like, you have a killer, and then you have a set of teens that the killer is going to be coming after. But the teens, the main characters, our protagonists, our victims, have to be some level of sympathetic, because that's how you create tension, obviously.
Yes.
You have to feel something for them, so when they start getting killed off, there's like, oh no, like, you don't want to see them get killed, and then when you see them get killed, it's a sad thing. There is not a single person that's sympathetic in Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's almost like you want them all to die, because
yes.
you hate every single person. Like, probably the most sympathetic person in the film is Michael himself, which is like the wrong thing. Like, why are we sympathizing with the murderer? But that's just Zombie doing his thing, and I don't blame him. And it's just like everybody's just like the worst version of like these kind of characters, and I'm just like, they never stop saying fuck. They're absolutely putrid human beings. Even Laurie herself is kind of obnoxious, and it's like, I really don't care if she lives or dies. That's doubled in the sequel, Halloween 2, where she's just basically like just the worst person ever.
Yes.
And I'm just like, this is like, I understand like the reason like producers would pick Rob Zombie, because he was like this, after The House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, it's like, oh yeah, well, he's got a creative visionary kind of thing by the way he looks at horror. But it's like, yeah, when he's doing his own original stuff, like I still consider myself more or less a fan of Rob Zombie. Like, I like House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't really like Devil's Rejects, but that's because it disturbs me to a point where I just like, I don't enjoy it.
I don't like looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a well-made film. I just don't like it because it just disturbs me. I'm a huge fan of his 31. That's just mainly due to Richard Brake as Doomhead.
Yes.
Which I'm really hoping like one day Zombie would just relent and make a Doomhead like solo movie where it's just all about Doomhead doing wild and crazy shit.
Yeah.
And basically so he can let Richard Brake cut loose, because I think Richard Brake is an amazing actor.
He is.
Like particularly because of his performance in 31. Lords of Salem was great. So I like his stuff, but he was absolutely the wrong person to be making a Halloween movie. And it's just like, but the reason I chose as a thriller, because which I will get into when we get into Halloween 4, is that Rob Zombie's Halloween is a remake of Halloween, and more or less so is Halloween 4.
It is, yeah.
It is basically like almost like a soft reboot of the series.
It is.
Yeah, so like that's why I choose to as the trailer. But I don't like that movie.
Yeah, I think Rob Zombie was the wrong person to make Halloween 2007. I think he was the absolute right movie to make the sequel. I don't like looking at the first movie. For some reason, what they do to Danielle Harris in Zombie's original Halloween gets under my skin in a way I don't like. And then in 2, I can't look away. Like, I think that movie is, because it is dealing with the fallout and this grief and everyone just turning into these different people because of what they experience. I mean, Loomis is even worse. He's much more exploitative than he ever was in the first one. Laurie is now just turned into, the way the movie kind of works, she's now just turning into like a monster. Danielle Harris is actually becoming more human in it, and she's actually closer to her father. She's all these other things. And then it's just about how this trauma just shatters a person. And it's absolutely fascinating, and how Michael Myers is just this bearded kind of creature. And so I don't know what the dichotomy is. And that's kind of how I feel about Rob Zombie overall, is that there are some movies like Devil's Rejects, I think is really well made. I just don't like looking at it. I think it horrifies me to the point where I think the thumb is on the nerve too hard, way too hard, and I need to get out of the room. Where there's something like Lords of Salem, I'm all in. Same with Halloween 2, I'm all in. It's just this weird, and Halloween 2 is vicious. Like, it's not like, I don't know what it is. It's just this hot and cold thing I have with, because I like 100 House of 1,000 Corpses. So I don't know what it is about him that he can do the exact same thing again, but I'm all in on 2. But 1, I am just looking at it and just like being repulsed by what I see. And I don't know why that is. Though in saying that, I am very looking forward to his Monsters movies because it's got Richard Brake playing Herman Munster. So give me that movie. No, not Richard Brake. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have seen his Herman. Oh, is it Richard Brake? Is it who's playing Herman Munster? And
I forgot. I really forget his name, but it's one of the actors from 31.
That's probably where I'm getting confused with.
One of the main characters from 31. I'm forgetting the guy's name, but
Jeff Daniel Phillips, who was yes.
Yeah. That's him. I would have loved to have seen Richard Brake's interpretation of Herman Munster because I just think Richard Brake is just a phenomenal actor.
Yes, because they're both in 3 from Hell. Jeff Daniel Phillips is playing the skeeziest warden on the planet who still does not deserve what happens to him, and Richard Brake, of course, takes in for over the great what's his name, Sid Haig. Can't believe I forgot Sid. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I got the 2 mixed up because they are, and he does use them a lot.
Yeah. And and the funny thing too is that Richard Brake does Richard Brake was on my mind because he does make an appearance in a film I watched last night at the time of this recording, Barbarian.
Oh, excellent.
He does appear in there, and he's just like he's not in it for very long, but he does appear in it, and he's phenomenal in that as well. I'm just a big fan with Richard Brake.
Richard Brake, Bill Moseley, and Phillips. Every time they come up in something, I'm like, hey, there they are. I'm always very, very happy. But no, that is a really great trailer because I think it does look at another version, another world, another timeline of how you reboot, of how they've tried to reboot Halloween, and they will reboot Halloween every decade. Now that I've just realized that, every decade it's more or less, it's okay, it's time we need to reboot Michael Myers. So that is absolutely perfect. But for my final trailer, I'm going back to 1988 with a Michael Myers ripoff. And that, of course, is Edge of the Axe.
Gerald's a cool kid with a keen computer. Now that he's met Lillian, the lines of communication are definitely open.
It's called Icarus. You can ask it anything you like.
But the readout spells trouble.
Wait a minute, what happened here?
And murder is the mode.
What shape is that body? Hamburger meat.
A killer is loose, and the whole town's on edge. Edge of the Axe.
Gerald, why do you have the names of all the women who were killed in your computer file?
Ooh, she's coming this way. Bodacious tacos. Roderick, you have a little something going on with Rita. Rita had your name and number in her phone book.
Spanish movie directed by Jose Ramon, but this one gets into computer science. I don't know. As dopey as this movie is, the kills are really goddamn effective.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The first time I watched it was maybe 2 years ago, like right before the pandemic hit. I think I purchased the Arrow Blu-ray that just come out, like I think not too long prior before that. And I was really into it. Like I loved the way it looked and all that stuff. And I enjoyed it. Like it's I may not have loved it, but I did like it a lot. I thought it was a very effective slasher film that was just like weird and like it's one of my favorite kind of thing where it's like I love slasher movies that are just like particularly like horror films that are just normal for a lot of it and then just hit a point where it's just like let's just go dog shit insane and just build on from there. Like a perfect example is something like Body Parts.
Yes.
Where for like 2/3 it's just like this really good psychological horror thriller, and then it hits the third act portion, and then just becomes it just goes fucking nuts. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a whole other thing. I love movies like that. So it's like I really enjoyed Edge of the Axe because it does that where it's like it's a slasher movie, and then when the revelation comes on, it's just absolutely mind-blowingly insane.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, but I wish I would like it more, but I do like it a lot.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of years ago, but it was on Tubi. I think just around before, because a lot of Arrow stuff does end up on Tubi. Thank you, Tubi.
Yeah, I think it's still on Tubi as of this recording.
Yeah, stays on there because Tubi can get rid of things very quickly. I sort of went, I am buying the Arrow of this because this is delightful. There is a bonkersness that Spanish ripoffs will tend to do, and it just takes it to a complete different place. You're like, how did you get even there? And that is the ending of, like, I don't understand how you got from A to B. And no matter how much you watch it, you just delight in the fact that there is no connection. But it is a really fun movie. It's not going to change your mind, but it's just a movie that's just going to go, yeah, this is fun. There's no kind of, at least if you don't like Rob Zombie, you know that he's got a point of view and he's trying a thing. Yes.
Right.
Is the fact that he loves Tobe Hooper so much that he'll turn everything into a Tobe Hooper Texas Chainsaw movie. Yes. But he's also a big enough film nerd to know that, he loves classic older movies and this is all through his sort of stuff. This is not that movie, but it is a movie where you're just like going, yeah, this is just great. This is just, as Marge Simpson says, I think they're neat.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Well, we might as well get into it. Dwight H. Little, who's a director I have actually grown to love in the last couple of years. So every time I always forget that he's made this, and then I'm like, oh wait, it's a Dwight H. Little joint. Yes. And that is, of course, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
10 years ago, on the night of October 31st, a small Midwestern town fell victim to an escaped killer. Under the cover of darkness, he carried out the most horrifying mass murder on record. 16 people in cold blood. Ever since that night, no one has forgotten his name. And Halloween has never been the same. Now, Michael Myers has come home. He has returned for one more night of unholy terror.
Michael!
Somebody help me!
He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way.
Oh, God!
Who's gonna be next?
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Maybe nobody knows how to stop him.
Now, we've already sort of mentioned that this is a soft reboot because this episode already come out, Halloween 3 didn't do that well, which makes me sad because we need, as much as we got of it, we need more movies of Top Adkins just a fucking inappropriate woman. And if Halloween 3 had hit bigger, we would have gotten that, but we didn't. But we get this kind of movie, which is kind of return to the basics. It's Michael Myers is back. He's after his family again. He's in Haddonfield. He's been in the burn unit since 1981, and now he's coming back. But actually, before we get into it, Rob, what is your connection? We've already kind of touched on this, how it was probably more Scream that got us into it. But what was the first Halloween movie you remember seeing?
It was unfortunately Halloween 5.
Oh, you did say that in the theater.
Yeah,
not the best introduction.
I actually discussed this on my friend Ken Sledge. He does a he's the runner of Sledgehammer horror podcast YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? I definitely, if you're a horror fan, definitely check out his stuff, because he's a great host and all that stuff. But for his channel, he runs a show called My First Horror Movie.
Oh,
and,
yes.
yeah, and I was a guest on that, and I had to talk about Halloween 5, unfortunately. And so like, if basically, if you want my thoughts on Halloween 5, check that one out. But like, yeah, it was just like just the worst thing to get introduced to Halloween on. I mean, admittedly, as a kid, I was 5 years old when I saw it, and I did like it. My parents took me to. I'm guessing that they could not find the sitter, so they just decided to take it. Yeah, he's 5. He won't understand. You know what I'm saying? He won't get it. And I'm like, I remember being in the theater like, wow, this is cool and all that stuff, and this is scary. And then like, years later, I rewatched it. I'm like, oh, this is a piece of shit. Yeah, like not the best introduction to Halloween, but I do remember watching Halloween 4 right after that, because like I said, I did like it when I first saw it, but I was an impressionable kid, and I liked Halloween 4 as well when I first saw it after that. But unlike Halloween 5, where I grew to hate it, to this point despise it, Halloween 4, my love for it has grown for it to where it's like I'm constantly at odds at which one I like more when it comes to either this Halloween 4 or the original Halloween.
Oh,
like,
wow.
This is what this is what I was talking about with Ken on that episode as well. It's like if like yesterday or tomorrow you ask me, I might say, if you ask me like, what's your favorite Halloween? I might say Halloween. I mean, like I'll give it the nod because it is the original, and none of these films would exist without that immortal masterpiece of cinema.
Yes.
But like a day like today, or maybe like the day after tomorrow, if you ask me which one is my favorite, I'd probably say 4, because I love 4 that much. If I can, I'm going to, like, you guys can't see this, but I'm going to try and show Lindsay. As you can see right now, I'm wearing my Halloween shirt.
Yes, you are.
But I want to show you, like, I have this DVD version of Halloween, this DVD version of Halloween, this DVD version of Halloween 4, and this Blu-ray of Halloween 4. Like, I don't have the 4K yet. I will get it, but I don't have a 4K player. But I will eventually get it, because I just love Halloween 4 so much. But like, yeah, Halloween 4, Halloween 4, Halloween 4, Halloween 4.
Oh, that is amazing.
I love that movie so much. I have 4 different copies of it.
It's kind of amazing, because my Halloween collection is so over the place. Like I own the 4K and the first one, DVD of the second one. No, then digitally 3, 4, and 5 and 6. I have digitally, but then I have another copy of the producer's cut of 6, a really dodgy bootleg, which I need to update and get a decent copy of that. And then I think everything else is digital. The zombies are digital. But I also own Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills on Blu-ray, because I have to. I don't know. It's very all over the place, but I love the fact that you have multiple DVD copies. So every time you've gone to a store, you've seen it and gone, I need that.
right. And like, they're all different ones too. This one is the Anchor Bay release of it, and it's bare bones. It just features the trailer for Halloween. 4 and Halloween. This one was the next release, where it featured a 17-minute documentary called Halloween 4 Final Cut, as well as the theatrical trailer. This one is the DivaMax special edition of Halloween 4, which features an audio commentary with Ellie Cornell and Daniel Harris, as well as an audio commentary with Alan B. McElroy, who's the writer, as well as a discussion panel of Halloween 4 and 5, as well as held over from the previous release, the making of
nice.
Halloween 4, the final cut, as well as and this is just a regular Blu-ray which features the same stuff from that release, but in HD. But I love Halloween 4 so much that I want to have every version of it, and like I said, I'm definitely going to get that the 4K version of
Scream
it.
Factory,
I just need the 4K player to go with it. But I just absolutely love Halloween 4 so much. Like I said, like I was saying, it is basically a remake of like a soft reboot of Halloween.
Yeah.
Where it does all the exact same things that Halloween does, but it does it very efficiently, almost like it's like Halloween on steroids, because you have scenes like stuff that recreates things that you've seen in Halloween, but it does it in a way where it's just like almost like ratcheted up tenfold. Like you have Loomis doing Bruce Willis leaps out of explosions while firing his gun. Yeah, like he literally does a leap out of an explosion, like he's fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And it is just like pumped, like everything is pumped up to 11 in here. Like the kills are more brutal. Like the cinematography, like I mean, nobody will ever be as good as a cinematographer as oh my god, like I'm about to give him praise and then I forget his name. Carpenter's boy.
Oh Dean Cundey.
Yes, Dean Cundey. Thank you.
Yes.
Dean Cundey is a phenomenal cinematographer, and like his work on Halloween and Halloween 2, as well as Halloween 3, is phenomenal. But Peter Lyons-Collison, who was the cinematographer for Halloween 4, does an exceptional job, especially in the opening credits, which our friend TJ Mackey have gone on about how the opening credits to Halloween 4 are probably the best opening credits in the entire series.
They're pretty good.
Where it's just like it basically looks at the town, like it's fall, like it's like Halloween season, but it's like really creepy and decrepit. It's almost like a ghost town, like really pushing that point. Like this is Haddonfield 10 years removed from the legacy of Michael Myers' Night of Terror. And like everything is just like, just run down. Like, it's like a town on limp legs.
Yes.
Like everyone's going on, but it's still just like a ghost of its former self. And like that's communicated beautifully in the opening credits, where it's just like, you have the Halloween decorations, but it's all just like, wall kind of thing. And it's almost like a town that's just like dead. Like everyone's trying to survive in this town that's all but dead, and that's due to the ghost of the memory of Michael Myers hanging over everybody and everything. And then of course he breaks out and then causes another reign of terror on the residents of Haddonfield. And it's just like, oh my god, I love this movie so much. Like I could go on forever. Of course, the beautiful Ellie Cornell is Rachel Brothers. My queen, I love her. That's another reason why I hate Halloween 5, because what they do to her. It's the worst. The worst.
I mean, it kind of, I think Zombie does it better in terms of how someone is affected by this kind of trauma.
Yes.
In Halloween 2. But 5 is just like, oh, we'll just stick her in a thing. She doesn't speak. And then 2 minutes later, she's murdered. I'm not the biggest fan of bringing someone back just to kill them in a franchise. It can be done well. Scream 2, I think Elm Street 3, I'm fine with, though I get it's a self-sacrifice and you do spend a lot of time with Nancy. But something like, as much as I love Friday the 13th Part 2, that Alice, and I enjoy that sequence, I'm like, it didn't need to be Alice. And same with 5. It didn't need to be Ellie. It didn't need to be Rachel. And it is, it's kind of heartbreaking. And then you get into the fact that now we have to deal with Tina, and the fact that Michael Myers is just driving around. Like it's just okay, whatever. But one thing I love about 4, yes, you just get this kind of beautifully, because Dwight H. Little is a fantastic director, and he knows how to convey information really, really quickly. You watch any of his movies, Rapid Fire, Phantom of the Opera, And this movie, you understand, oh, he knows how to create a scene so you don't have to explain that much what is happening. And so he can just kind of let the characters do their thing. And this is what this movie does. As soon as you get that scene, you're back in the hospital, they're transferring him. Loomis isn't there. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, but I love the whole thing is like, they go, Jesus Christ, Jesus has nothing to do with this place. And you go depths down. Like you were literally going into how they're keeping him in purgatory and this kind of, and of course it's Halloween night and they're moving him. He's like, well, hello, I'm awake now.
Yeah, like he's an invalid in his bed until he hears the fact that
his niece,
Jamie Lloyd, is he has a niece and she's alive and she's in Haddonfield, which is a weird place to keep a child in relation to Michael Myers.
Yes.
That why would you keep her in Haddonfield?
Well, easy to find.
right. You know, saying like, but like, and also like the way like. I mean, I guess because he's been like an invalid, almost comatose for 10 years, they're like, like he's no harm. It's like, I don't give a shit what condition he's in. That man is going on a prison bus with armed guards. I'm not transferring him in just no regular ass ambulance. And Alan B. McElroy has stated that that's how it was written in his original script.
Oh, was it?
That Michael was being transferred in a prison bus and like and that's how he broke out. However, I guess maybe the budget didn't call for like an actual prison bus, so they just came up with a random ambulance, and it's just like, yeah, but it seems silly and shit. But like, I get the understanding that he hasn't moved in 10 years and he's burned, you know, completely. He's still in bandages. You know, like what's he gonna do? And it's like, he can do a lot.
He's been exercising that thumb, people. He's been getting that thumb ready. What I love about this movie is that you often see the aftermath of when Michael's been somewhere. So you see the murder of the tech when he gets the thumb through the brain, which I still love. I think it's such a gory moment and it's so unexpected when you just sort of see him just go. It's like plucking him like a piece of fruit. And then Loomis is like, you didn't tell me you're transferring him. You need to tell me, why did you do it on the night before Halloween? You know what day it is. And then they get the thing saying with Michael Pataki, just like, you're an old man. No one cares what you have to say. And then, of course, I think it's Michael Pataki. And then and then you get going, that ambulance was been in a crash. And then when Loomis goes around to have a look at it, it's just blood and viscera everywhere. Like, you're like, oh my God, what did he do to these people? And it's like, how many bodies? I don't know. They're a bit all over the place. And everyone's like, oh, it was just a crash. I'm like, yeah, there's body parts. Unless there's body parts in the ambulance, they don't like spread out like a. It's usually a little bit more intact.
Yeah. Like the ambulance is pretty much in place. You know, the side, you know, the body parts spewed all over the place would suggest a much more awful accident than what's on display. Like the ambulance is its own return, but like, you know, everybody's just spilled. Yeah. Like blood is spilled, parts all over the place, and it's like, oh, it was just a regular accident, and it's like, you stupid motherfucker, you.
Yeah, and then Loomis is just like, oh, this is no accident. I'm like, yeah, this is no accident. I love Loomis is one of my favorite fictional characters. I love how deranged he is, and my favorite thing about this is you think, oh, he's calmed down with age, and then as soon as he gets a chance, nope, martial law is instated in the town. I'm making the decision. I'm like, there he is. There's my Loomis.
Yeah. He's definitely on edge, and like I understand. It makes sense why he's like that. Like when he basically tells the people of the town that Michael Myers is loose, and like it makes sense because Michael off screen has just butchered the entire
police force,
sheriff's department. Yeah, the sheriff's department. And Sheriff Meeker's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, dude, you don't have a police force. It's just you and one of your deputies that's left. Everybody else is dead. We need someone to help us kill this guy. It's like, yeah, see, Loomis is smart. And then you get to Halloween 5, and he's just like, oh my God, Loomis is completely, utterly insane.
Only you can stop him. Like, stop yelling at Jamie. Stop it.
Yeah, it's like, who's more dangerous here, Michael or Loomis?
I mean, I love how Loomis has always been a bit unhinged. Even in number 1, like you can tell he's just a little bit unhinged, and in 5, it's just like it's gone completely. It's like, geez,
he's completely insane in 5. Like, he's absolutely positively insane.
Yeah, like though I do love the fact that he goes on a little road trip with Carmen Filippi. It's just like he's just hitchhiking, and that's kind of what I really have grown to love about 4 is these weird character moments that it's really an efficient slasher movie. I mean, it gets in, it gets out, but it still has time for Loomis to be wandering down the road, getting teased by teenagers, and then picked up by essentially a crazy Ralph character from Friday the 13th, who's now a preacher. It's just because Carmen Philippi is just a weird looking bird, but it is I like it how it has those moments. Like I love when Rachel's been told that she has to babysit that night. She's like, but I can't. Brody's going to make a commitment. I mean, this is my future relationship, my future marriage you're dealing with. And it is such a great character beat that didn't have to be in the movie, but they've left it in. And it makes you love Rachel more. The fact that she's being a little shit, but you know she absolutely cares about Jamie.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I love all the characters in this film, like especially like Rachel and like that little love triangle she has going on with Brady and Sheriff Meeker's daughter.
Yeah.
But what I love about Rachel is that, I mean, she is the final girl of the film essentially, and like of course she's the virgin, but she doesn't necessarily want to be the virgin. Like she wants to go out on a date with Brady, which shows how much of a jerk Brady is, because after she picks up Jamie from school with her friend Lindsay, who is essentially Lindsay from the original Halloween.
I only clocked it this time around.
Yeah, and they go to where Brady's working, and he's working in the pharmacy, which is always a funny line when he says, when Jamie wants to go look at the costume, he's like, why don't you go over to the aisle? We got the best costumes in all town. And it's like, when does a pharmacy have the best costumes anywhere?
Yeah.
Like they literally have the $5 costumes that I used to wear that you couldn't breathe in, with the flimsy rubber bands that would snap if you just turn your head ever so swiftly.
Yeah.
It was just the worst. Like, this piece of plastic fabric that you drape over yourself, and it was hot as hell in there. And it's like, that's the costumes pharmacies sell. And never would those be the best costumes in any town, let alone Haddonfield. So I don't give a shit what Brady says.
Yeah.
But then, like, she's going in there to tell him that, look, I got to babysit, but like, she's hot and heavy, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I love you, Brady, and all that stuff. And it's like, obviously, she wants to be with Brady. She's only asking him, look, we cannot go out tonight, but if you chill out,
wait till tomorrow.
Wait till tomorrow. All he has to do is wait till tomorrow.
Nope.
But yeah, he's so pissed off, he goes out with Sheriff Meeker's daughter instead, the fucking asshole. He's such a goddamn jerk.
He is such a goddamn jerk. I mean, yes, he does. You do get the slight redemption of when he realized how dangerous it is. He knows Ellie and Jamie are Rachel and Jamie are in danger. So he's like, right, okay, I'm going to be the hero. And then 2 seconds later, Michael just goes, and you're dead. So you do get that kind of moment. Like, Michael is very efficient in this movie. I mean, watching a few of the Halloweens, you realize there's sometimes where you like to play with people, or sometimes where he's just like fucking with them. And this one, he's just like, nope, I am pulling off body parts. I am stabbing. I do not have the time tonight. I'm going to get this done.
Right, which my favorite kill in the series is actually in this film, where he impales Sheriff Meeker's daughter with the shotgun that he took off the deputy after he murdered him.
Yes.
And the funny thing, me and a great friend Patrick were talking about this, because Patrick had rewatched it not too long ago, maybe like a few months ago, and he was texting me as he was watching it. And his it still makes me laugh to this thought that he sent to me, this text, where he was like, he this is why he loves Michael, because Michael takes the shotgun and instead of using it for its actual use as a firing weapon, he just uses it as another thing of impalement. Like, he doesn't understand how the gun works. Like, he's like, well, whatever, and just runs her through and sticks her to the wall. And it's just like, yeah, that's our Michael. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like it's just another stabbing weapon.
Yeah, it's like when in Halloween 2, when he's in the hospital and he's having fun with hospital supplies. It's just he's got, I can lift someone up with a scalpel, which actually might be one of my favorite kills, because I'm like, of course Michael Myers just picks them up with a scalpel. That's just what he does. But yeah, it's like, I can stab needles, and what is in this? And he will, if something can stab, he will find a way to stab it through someone. And also his thing of posing the bodies is in this movie as well. He doesn't do it as much because he obviously does not have time tonight. Like he's got to get Jamie. He's on a mission, and I've got to take out the police force so they don't bother me. I've got to do all this stuff. But he will put the deputy sheriff's head on his lap, because he's like, well, I have to do a little bit.
Yeah, like to this day, I'm still weirded out like how that worked, because you see the deputy and he's just like, it's almost like Michael took his wrist and shoved it in the deputy's neck, because the way it's positioned, like the way the hand is sticking out, it's almost like he broke the wrist to where like a bone is poking out, and then used it to stab the deputy in the neck, because it's sticking out like it was almost like he impaled him with it. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm like, I don't know if that's the thing, because that's just silly, but like it tracks for Michael, who's just like, whatever. Yeah. I'm just gonna, I gotta find a way to kill it. I just got a way to kill this guy, and I need something to stab him with because I like stabbing. So I'm going to break his wrist to where the bone's poking out and stab him in the neck with it. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense for Michael. Yeah. Especially in this one, because he's particularly vicious. Yeah. In this one, it's like you said, he's a man on a mission. It's almost like, because he's a different Michael in the first and second one, because especially in the first one, because he's a trickster. That's why he positions the bodies up in this one. He's the shape. It's almost, yeah. And this one, it's almost like he's on a path of vengeance. Like he has no time to fuck around. He's just like, I want to kill this girl, and if you're in my way, I'm going to murder you. Yeah. I'm not playing around this time. Like, this girl must die. So it's like, that's why I like the fact that a lot of times you don't really see him. He kills a lot of people in this movie. He really does. But you don't really, like, he kills the entire sheriff's office. Like Sheriff Meeker and Loomis walk in, and like all the deputies are dead. The only one deputy that survived was because he wasn't there. But all the other deputies are dead. Like, they're missing limbs and all that stuff. There's blood all over the place. And it's just like, this man walked into a sheriff's office and killed all the deputies. And it's like, he's such on a mission, we didn't even see it happen. He just went like in a furious rage and just killed everyone. And it's like, yeah, Michael is probably like on a level of evil that you like there's not seen in any of the other ones. Like the only thing I could compare it to is like, I know you said how much of a fan you are of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I don't like that one. But I will say that when Michael murders Octavia Spencer in the hospital in Halloween 2, where he repeatedly stabs her, and like almost like viciously, like, maliciously, like, just like, ugh! When you hear him grunting, which is more disturbing to me than anything else. Yes. That's like one of my top 3 Michael Myers moments. And there's just like how malicious it is. But like the first 2 are like completely contained in this one. Like, of course, I said Sheriff Meeker's daughter. Also, number 2 is when he kills Brady. Because like you were saying, Brady has a redemption arc. Like, he's cheated on Rachel with Sheriff Meeker's daughter because he's a jerk. But like, he gives them time to get away from Michael as Michael is slowly approaching, and Brady is taking forever to reload the shotgun. Yeah. Which always makes me laugh. And then like Brady's putting up a fight when Michael gets to him, and he, like, he's trying to punch him and all that stuff. And then Michael was just like just absolutely dismissive, like Brady's a fly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just like whatever. Like, you're a bug. You mean nothing to me. And then like grabs him by the neck and then just grabs him like it's a weird kill too, because like he grabs him by the neck, but also like by the face and just like squeezes until you hear a pop. Now you don't see what happens. You only hear the pop.
Yeah.
It cuts at the pop, which is so much more disturbing to me. Like, just like, you know, Brady screaming, ah! And just, and then it cuts. Like before you see any blood and guts or brains go flying out, which makes it much more disturbing kill than anything, because like that pop makes your mind wander, like to like exactly what happened to Brady's head.
Where did his brain go? Did he just popped him like a freaking walnut? It's
like, is it the bones, the skull, or did the head completely explode because Michael squeezed it that hard? And it's just that much more disturbing to me than just showing like the head come apart. And I love that scene so much. And it's like, poor Brady. I mean, he was a jerk, but like at least he died doing the noble thing, trying to help Rachel, and Jamie get away. You know, I mean, of course that was his fault because he took forever to load the shotgun.
Yes.
Which I love slasher movies, but I hate that thing where it's like the killer is slowly walking to them, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't load the gun that I was able to load proficiently just a few seconds ago, but I can't load it now, even though the killer is walking
right there.
Like, and he's taking forever to get to me, but it's just like, oh my god, I can't, and I'm dead.
No, it's like the joke in Austin Powers where you've got Austin Powers they're on the ice
steamroller.
The thing roller, and you've just got like the guy screaming, but when the camera turns, you realize he's like about 3 meters away, and the thing's going so slowly, and he's just like standing there screaming. That is what that is. That is always one of my favorite jokes.
Which is funny because Austin Powers is played by Mike Myers. Yes! And the security guard that's screaming is Michael McDonald, who was in Halloween Kills. So he got murdered by Mike Myers in Austin Powers and by Michael Myers in the Halloween Kills.
No, I'm not the biggest fan of Baby Driver. Like, I like it, but it's not my favorite Edgar Wright. But the thing of the whole the Michael Myers mask, and he brings Mike Myers, I still think that is the funniest joke.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that part.
Yeah, they're running around in Austin Powers mask. It's really, I mean, this kind of thing is, it's got all that through that. And Michael Myers is a brute. We're going to compare him more to when we talk about the next movie, because I think you can see the trajectory of when a certain Jimmy Cameron movie comes out, and then how monsters are treated afterward. Like they're already they're kind of unstoppable beforehand, but they are really unkillable after 1984. And I think that has a lot to do with a certain sequel, a certain movie we'll be pairing both with the Terminator. But I love the fact that how strong he is. He has gone, you can see him he's pretty strong in Halloween 2 because he picks a woman up by a scalpel. But in this movie, it's now super strong. Like, he puts a thumb through a friggin' guy's forehead. He like squishes Brody's head. He like rams a gun through poor Kelly Mika, the sheriff's daughter, and so burping all day. He is so freaking strong that it is getting to the point that it's getting towards supernatural, like, which I think 5 definitely hints at, and 6 really leans into. Like, oh no, he is not human, and this is kind of where it's not on purpose, but that is definitely where it starts. It's this guy is strong, and he is on a mission. He's got Jamie in his sights, and he is going to murder her. It is and this is just the fact that Jamie is a 7-year-old girl makes this even so much more sadder, and the stakes so much go up. There's something about a slasher killing teenagers, but there's something different about him going after a kid, like a little girl who is the saddest girl in the world.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, yes. Like, all the kids in her school are so mean to her for no reason whatsoever. Oh yeah, like what was it? Like her mommy's dead. Her mommy's a mummy. Like, you little motherfuckers, you.
And
Like,
your
oh my
uncle's a
God.
monster. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. You can't, I mean, I know kids are awful, but Jesus.
Right, when they chase her out of the school screaming, Jamie's an orphan, like, you little sons of bitches. Like, just the worst children ever. Like, I say all the time, that could have been me. I'd have been fighting somebody. Like, y'all not about to sit there and fucking talk about my mother dead and like how I'm an orphan. Like, we'd have been fighting. Like, we'd have been rolling around on the ground right there in kindergarten. I don't give a shit. Kindergarten, first grade.
You're just like kicking people, going, "You motherfuckers!" Which is those kids absolutely deserve. I mean, this goes back to the first Halloween when you have poor Tommy being bullied by that one dick. Like, I think it's one or two dicks. Like, it's just two kids. It's not the whole entire school.
Right. Yeah. Lonnie and like two of his buddies. They're like, oh yeah, the boogeyman's gonna get you. Like, that stuff is like, whatever. Like, yeah, the boogeyman's gonna get you, Tommy. The boogeyman. But these kids are just vicious. Just like, your mommy's dead. Ha ha. Your mommy's a mommy. And your uncle's the boogeyman and you're an orphan. Ha ha ha. That's funny. And like,
it's funny. It's like, what is wrong with you? No, and the fact that she has to go out by a tree and breathe, "You're okay," is devastating.
It's
devastating. That a 7-year-old is having to lean up against a tree and go, "You're okay. You're okay." It's like, no, she is not okay. I need to pick up this child and give her a hug.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, that's a lot of credit to the little Danielle Harris as well, too, because she is fantastic, because it's like, you don't normally see children in slasher movies. It's always the teenagers, and all that stuff. And that's one thing I always liked about this movie as well, because it's not really like a teenager, like, because slasher movies is all about the teenagers getting killed by the killer. But this one's more like an ensemble, like town. Like, there's a couple of teenagers. There's Kelly Sheriff Meeker's daughter. There's Brady and there's Rachel, and that's it. Like the scene where we're introduced to a lot of them at the pharmacy where Brady works. Like, we see him messing around with his buddies, and daring his buddy to go talk to Sheriff Meeker's daughter. And like, oh yeah, like money talks and bullshit walks, man. Like, yeah, her daddy will scare me. And he walks up there like all confident. She's like, fuck off, Wade, which I find hilarious. And, because we've seen other slasher movies, we suspect these are going to be our main characters.
Yes.
We're going to be following these kids. These teens, and then Rachel, probably Lindsay, because we're introduced to Lindsay. And we really don't. Like, that's it. We stay with Rachel, we stay with Brady and Kelly, Sheriff Meeker's daughter, and then that's it. And then they're paired up with Sheriff Meeker and Loomis and the deputy and Jamie, and it basically becomes like almost like an ensemble thing. But like, Jamie is essentially our main character, because she's the one being chased by Michael and all that stuff. So the film is basically on her shoulders, and like, that's a tough position to put a child in, like, especially a child actor at a young age. She was like 9 or 10 when she started doing this, but like, she handles it so well. Like, also in Halloween 5 too, as much as I dislike that movie, she is the best thing in it. Absolutely. Yeah, like, she is the best thing in it. Like, her conveyance of fear and all that stuff and emotion is just the top notch, even for someone who was as young as she was. And it's just amazing, that like, you have this young child holding it together as much as they do. Like, because children tend to be annoying at that age, and like, especially in these movies, it's like, oh, I'll kill that kid, I hate him. But no, she is absolutely phenomenal. Like, we were just talking about that scene where she's by the tree. You're okay. And like, her, like I said, the way she portrays fear in it is just like incredible. Like, Danielle Harris has always been a favorite actress of mine, particularly due to Halloween 4. She's remained ever since. Like, I've always been a huge fan of hers. You know what I'm saying? I love that she has a huge love of horror. Yes. And like, she continues like to do horror stuff, and she has the great podcast with Scout Taylor Compton from that she worked with in Rob Zombie's two Halloween films, which is the best thing to come out of those two movies is the fact that they do the podcast together. But yeah, like I think a lot of the credit and success of this movie is due to Danielle Harris, because she is amazing in the film.
She really is. Even her first scene when she's just looking out the window and staring and she can't sleep. Rachel comes down and goes, "Oh my God, kid, what are you doing?" And the first thing she says is, "Do you love me? Do you love me like a sister?" And the fact that Rachel can't get there and go, "Of course I love you like a sister." She has to go, "Well, we're not actual sisters." It's because Rachel just can't get there, because this is I do feel for Rachel, because I am the youngest of my family and my sister was 11 years older than me. And she got dumped with a lot of the babysitting duty. It's not her fault, because both my parents worked. It was just how it is. And because my sister was older than me, she got a lot of the babysitting duties. And this is kind of what's happened to Rachel, is that she was fine. She didn't have a younger sibling. She never had that responsibility. And now it's, you have to babysit when we tell you to, because you now have a sister. And she's just looking at this and going, well, she's not my sister. Yeah. But the thing is, she does actually care about her. As soon as she finds out that Jamie overheard her saying, "Why am I getting stuck with the kid?" she goes, "Oh my God, I've just heard." She wants to make her feel better. Like when she goes, "Oh, we'll go for ice cream." And yes, we will go trick-or-treating. And she does do that. But it is, it is, I love their relationship. Because there's a moment where she goes, "I miss my mother." She goes, "Well, your mother used to babysit me." And Jamie pretty much says, "Well, good for you."
Right.
Why are you telling me something? You got something that I didn't get and never will have. And she's my mother. And she babysat you? Oh, well done. She's like, "I wish I had that." It's from the instant you feel for this little girl, and she's not, you're right, she's not annoying. She's not precocious. Even in Last Boy Scout, when a lot of Shane Black kids can be very precocious, she's incredible because she's a little punk who will not stop swearing, and she matches Bruce Willis toe to toe.
Right, absolutely. I still like, this line lives rent free in my head when Mark Holm is basically, he's holding her hostage. He said, "This little girl over here can't keep her goddamn mouth shut." She turns around, "Eat shit, you fucking redneck." And it's just like that's a great line, but Danielle Harris's delivery of that line is amazing.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, I agree. She can deliver a line. She's doing it when she's very young here. As I said, I'm okay. And when she goes, "Rachel, do you love me like a sister?" And you're just like, oh no, heartbreaking now. I need this character to be okay. And the fact that you don't get that at the end is kind of why I think if you didn't have the ending, which I know is a repeat of freaking the original, but if I don't think you got that ending, I don't think this movie would be as effective, because you are following Jamie.
Right.
Yeah.
No, like I love the relationship, because like you said, she with Rachel's relationship with Jamie, at first it's like Rachel is a sympathetic person, but she's like, oh God, now I gotta take care of this girl. But she desperately cares for her. But like over the course of the events of the night, she realizes just how much she actually cares for Jamie, to where the point where she risks her life for her. Like that like the best sequence in the movie to me is the rooftop sequence.
Oh yes.
Yeah, like when Mike was chasing them on the rooftop, when it's incredibly suspenseful. And I love how she's like, "Hold on to me, Jamie." What I'm saying? Like, she basically becomes the motherly figure to Jamie. She takes over for Laurie, what I'm saying, and becomes motherly to her. And I love that point to where she becomes so motherly, where she's like, "Hold on," and Jamie's like, "I can't." She said, "Well, try, damn it," which is something a mother would say.
Yes, I don't have time for this. Just do it.
Yeah, just do what I tell you. It's almost like it's almost sort of like a callback to like the way Laurie was after Michael chased her and Tommy let her back in the house. It's like, "Go upstairs, do as I say." You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yes, that's Rachel's version of that moment right there. And it's like I love that, how it comes to that, where it's just like, yeah, she realizes just how much she actually loves this girl to the point where even after the ending, which I'm going to get into in a second, she continues to be one of the few positive figures in Jamie's life after Jamie has almost stabbed her mother to death.
Yeah.
And she continues to visit her in the hospital. They show in part 5, where she's like, I love you. You did something, but I don't care because I love you so much. And I think that's a wonderful thing, which is what pisses me off all that more. That 15 minutes in, they fucking kill Rachel unceremoniously so they can replace her with Tina. I know Mustafa Akkad, the producer of the series, who unfortunately passed away, may he rest in peace. He had in later years after Halloween 5 came out, he admits that he greatly regretted doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, I regret that we killed her off. We should have left her alive and used her in part 5 and all the other ones because she was a great character, very popular, and we shouldn't have done that. That was a real mistake on that part. And yes, the fuck it was.
No, because the thing about the Halloween series is that, just because I'm paying more attention to them, even though I watch them a lot, is that they do tend to have sympathetic characters. And it's when a movie doesn't work, like 5 or Resurrection, is when you realize, oh, I don't actually like any of these characters. Whereas I love Laurie, I love Rachel, I love Jamie, I even love Annie, both versions. I love her in 1, and I do love her in Halloween 2, mainly because it's Danielle Harris. I love Loomis, even though he's kind of unhinged and should not be in the medical profession. I generally love these characters. I want them to be okay. And that's something that, say, Scream got, as we were talking about before.
Yeah.
And when a Halloween movie doesn't do that, that is when things go very, very sideways. I know Kills does that a little bit. There are characters I love because I'm always going to love Laurie no matter what, because it's Jamie Lee Curtis and she's the queen. And I love Judy Greer, and I need those characters to be. I need certain characters to be okay. There can't be a character in the Halloween series that is instantly, everyone's disposable. It can't be like that, because the whole point of Halloween is that you are setting up these characters. I think 4 does it really well. You love Rachel. You know Rachel. You were Rachel when you were 17. I know this 17-year-old girl. Because she's so relatable. All she wants to do is be 17. She doesn't want to have to babysit.
Yeah, right.
But there's this little girl who is so vulnerable, so sad, so just all she wants to be is loved. That's all she wants. And so you need to fill that space. I mean, I love the scene when she thinks she's lost it just before everything really kicks off, like before they know how much danger they're in. And because Jamie's kind of hanging out with some other kids, and then Rachel loses her. And when she finds her again, it's like, don't you ever do that to me again. It's that mother thing. It's, you don't leave my sight. I need to know where you are at all times. And that is kind of when you see, I do really care about this kid. This kid is important to me. And now I'm going to do anything to protect her.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love that, where she's just walking through the streets. And, this is after, Michael has killed the power to the town by murdering the electrician. Yeah, which is really smart, because
it's a Michael move. Let's be honest.
Which is really smart too, because let's face it, in slasher films, we always have those questions, like when certain things happen, like why don't they do this or why don't they do that? Why don't they call the state police? Or why don't they? Well, they can't call the state police because Michael has killed the power to the town. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Michael kills the phone lines when in the encounter he had, the confrontation he has with Loomis at the gas station diner. Yes. Because like at the explosion, it kills this, and then he kills the power. So it literally, like, there's logic, immediate logic in this film. So you're not questioning, but why don't they do this? And it's like, oh, they can't do that because this happened. And they can't do that happened. And it's just, I believe that's just credit due to Alan B. McElroy. Alan B. McElroy, of course, is a very known screenwriter who wrote Rapid Fire, also for Dwight. He's very good friends with Dwight in Schlo, which is why he got the job. And then, like, he also wrote Rapid Fire. He wrote a bunch of other films. He is the writer behind Wrong Turn, which I think is probably his most.
Yes.
Yeah, he is the creator of the Wrong Turn franchise. He knows his horror very well as his action and stuff. But the fact that he decided to include logic into the film is, kudos to him. Where it's just like, other slasher films, they don't give a shit. It's just, we'll set up the killer and the kids and we just have them kill them brutally. And it's like, no, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it right this time. We're going to do it efficiently. So we're, all that stuff is there, but, there's logic to it too. So where you're not questioning, you could just concentrate on the story at hand and you're not, your mind's not taken elsewhere. So we're taken out of the film where it's like, oh, but, why, why are they not doing this? And it's like, oh, I get it. So he kills the phone lines, he kills the power. And, so you have this darkened, you have all these darkened blocks where Rachel is just looking for Jamie and she's terrified. She's like, Jamie, oh my God, Jamie. And then she feels like Mike was chasing her. So she's running through these dark alleys and blocks and all that stuff. And it's like an incredible sequence to where she finally, like you said, she finds Jamie. She's like, don't you ever walk off on your own again. And, and it's like that essence of motherly instinct is starting to take over to her to where you get to the rooftop sequence and, she's basically commanding her, try, damn it. And she tries to save Jamie by tying her to the thing, and then she ends up falling off, and then she comes and rescues Jamie later, which is a sequence I love so much. Where because you were talking about how Mike was incredibly strong, and that's also showcased in the fact where they find Jamie and Rachel at school. And the townspeople, like the drunken bar dudes, and it's like, yeah, let's get the hell out of here. Like, I'm scared, man. The fucking Mike is gonna kill us. We got guns and shit, but we're scared. Let's get out of here. And okay, and they're on the truck, and then you realize Mike was there, and he just murders all these dudes in the back of the truck, and then he punches through the window, and he grabs the dude by his neck and almost completely takes his fucking head off by just pulling real hard, where you see the neck split open a little bit and the blood spray out, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude. He just pulls real swiftly and hard, and you see the dude's neck split open. Rachel takes over the driving the truck, and Mike was trying to get her, and she stops the car, and so he goes flying off, and then he does the I'm standing up, and facing her head on, and Rachel, she really fully encapsulates that motherly instinct where it's she becomes the Avenger. I love that Ellie Cornell's delivery of the line, where she's shifting gears, die, you son of a bitch. And she's driving, she's like, I'm gonna take you out, and she goes head on to him and sends him flying 87 feet, however far Mike goes flying. She hits him hard enough to where he really goes fucking far. Yeah. Where he falls by the well.
Yes.
And that's actually, I gotta admit, aside from the original, I love the where Loomis comes up and he shoots Michael. Yeah. Michael's still standing there. He shoots him another 5 times where he goes flying out the window. I love that.
He shot him 6 times.
Yeah, I shot him 6 times.
I shot him 6 times. Oh my God.
He's not human. But yeah, it totally is. But I love that climax to the original Halloween is amazing. But I love where Laurie's fighting with him. She takes his mask off, and as Michael's attempting to put it back on, Loomis finally comes up the stairs, and then bang, saying it's perfect Carpenter suspenseful moment. Yeah. But I really love how they dispose of Michael in here, where Rachel has hit him with the truck, like I said, sent him flying, and he's on the ground. He's like, oh, I'm dead, but I'm really not, because slashers never die.
And Michael Myers is particularly good at playing dead. He's done
yeah. Absolutely. And then Meeker shows up with townspeople and state police, and Jamie, like that's when Jamie goes over, like, you know, to check on Michael, like, you know, look, I guess just like, you know, this guy's been trying to kill me, like, let me.
Who was this? Who was this guy?
Yeah. And then, like, you know, Jamie, get away from him, like Rachel says, and then Michael gets up to kill her, and then Meeker's like, and also, like, I forgot to mention this throughout our conversation, but I just wanted to point out how much I fucking love Bo Starr. Bo Starr is, of course, one of my all-time favorite character actors. He's done a hell of a lot of stuff. He's the brother of also great character actor Mike Starr.
Yes.
Yes, I love Mike Starr and I love Bo Starr, two and great character actors. But Bo Starr is playing Sheriff Meeker. He's like, Jamie, get down! He's got this big ass shotgun, and they just shoot the shit out of Michael. Michael's like, and then he falls down. But like, I love it because, like, you know, in the hands of another director, it could be just a throwaway moment, like done real boring and like bullshit, blah kind of thing. But because Dwight Little is such a great director, like, you know, when handling visuals, he makes it such a great visual moment where, you know, it's in slow motion and Michael's getting shot and then he falls down the dam and then, like, that's it, you know, Michael's gone from the picture, you know, like hooray, he's dead, but not really, you know what I'm saying? Because
you need to go check the well, people.
But that leads to me, like, something I really wanted to talk about, which is the ending of the film. You had referenced it earlier. With the ending is such a gut punch because, you know, we've championed the safety and the survival of this child, Jamie Lloyd. Which is not to go off on a tangent, but it's such a weird name because Jamie Lloyd, of course, is the fact that her name is Jamie is a reference to Jamie Lee Curtis, played Lloyd. But with Jamie Lloyd, that means her father's last name was Lloyd, and Laurie, you know, and of course her mother's name is Laurie, so that means Laurie's name was Laurie Lloyd, and that's such a that does not work on the tongue at all. Laurie Lloyd.
That's when you go, I'm not changing my name.
Right, absolutely, 100%. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that was hilarious.
No, it really is. Like, because I know, it's a nice touch because Jamie Lee Curtis was hired because her mother happens to be Janet Leigh because she was in Psycho. So that's why Jamie Lee got the job. Thank you, nepotism. But Jamie Lee Curtis is absolutely an awesome actor, still is. And then you call this girl Jamie as a reference to Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think it's really sweet. But yeah, Laurie Lloyd does not work. Dwight H. Little is I think he is getting his due now, mainly because of Action Twitter, and you guys are just always doing the Lord's good work. And Dwight H. Little is one of those kind of really great action directors, as he understands how visuals are important. So if you ever watch Rapid Fire, he knows, well, I've got this guy who is Jordan Lee, who is amazing visual thing to look at. He's charismatic and he can move. Why not show that? And now he's like, no, I've got the kill for Michael Myers. This is kind of the moment everyone is waiting for. You're waiting for the takedown of the monster. Let's just revel in it a little. Let's just, yes, I know I'm going to have that little end, which is kind of, it's heartbreaking, but kind of works into the tragedy of the Myers family. But let's just revel in the fact that this motherfucker's going down. Can we just live in this moment of just fist pump glory?
Yeah, he goes down in such an audacious way, you know. I mean, like he also does in Halloween 2, like, you know, with the big explosion.
That is my favorite Michael death.
Yeah. When he comes out, he's on fire, he's still alive, and then he just drops dead. That's a beautiful moment. But I just love how Dwight Little visualizes Michael's demise here. It's just like, you know, and then you got Alan Howarth, who's doing the score. For this one, of course, he was a well-known collaborator of John Carpenter. And you know, he's doing a synth version of the classic Halloween score, and it's wonderful. And then that score is going off in the background as Mike was taking all these shots, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But you know, when they get, you know, Mike was dead, and they get back to the house, and I love that shot of Rachel as she just sitting on the couch, and you could tell she's just exhausted. She has nothing left.
No.
You know, after going through this night of terror, you know, defending Jamie against this super killer, you know, and she loses her potential love interest. Basically twice in one night, she lost him to Sheriff Meeker's daughter, and then she lost him to Michael Myers. And like, you know, she's on the table and she's just like, you know, just completely done. And then like, you know, they all have to deal with the fact that the madness has now taken over Jamie, and she stabs her foster mother, Rachel's mother, in the chest. And like, you know, I mean, at that point, we guessed that she killed her. But in Halloween 5, we find out that she did not kill her. But like, it's to me, that is probably out of all the films, like aside from one, like, you know, where Luna shoots Michael out the window, and then he goes and looks, and Michael was gone. And you know, I hate the fact that they retconned it in Halloween 2, where he's just like, you know, he's shocked, like, I shot him 6 times, you know, and he's surprised. Oh my God, Michael got away. In the original Halloween, he has that look on, like, I knew this would happen.
Yeah.
I knew he would get up and leave, and he's just like looking around, like, where could he have gone? Like, you know, and I'm gonna
find you.
Yeah. He has that look on his face, like, I'll get you. And you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I mean, because what people seem to think, you know, what took the wrong lessons from Halloween is that, you know, like the open-ended film which all slasher movie producers took upon, like, yeah, we'll leave it open for a sequel, which Carpenter never intended.
No.
It was just
a cool shot.
It was also to create a sense of unending terror.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, it's never ending. And it's like, you know, it could essentially mean that, yes, he's alive, he's still out there, he'll get us, but also like, you know, he may be gone, like, which is visualizing the fact that he's gone. He may be gone, but what he did will still remain with you. And that's the unending terror. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, that unending trauma where it's just like the events of this night will stay with you forever. You know, and that's chilling in itself. That's absolutely chilling. But what I find chilling is that, you know, the sense of, with Jamie, the sense of innocence, you know, like this girl that, like I said, we've championed her survival throughout this whole movie, you know what I'm saying? We sympathize with her, and now she's this instrument of death, you know, and that's perfectly portrayed where like Donald Pleasance is like, no, and you know, he's completely devastated, like, oh my God, it's going to continue. And it's going to continue, in this little angel, and they're all just standing there, look at the bottom of the stairs in shock, and she's just standing there completely gone. The evil has completely taken over her, and then it just cuts to black. And that is just, if that's not the most chilling shit ever, I don't know what is. You know, like this little angel, this little beautiful child is now the new
Michael Myers.
The new personification of death.
Yes.
And they completely retconned that in part 5, and that's why I'm like, fuck that movie forever.
They do this a lot. They will continuously retcon the ending because Michael is a thing that you need to move forward, but for some reason you cannot change. He's the shape. He cannot have a personality. And they've tried to give him one. They've tried to give him multiple personalities over the time, like Cult of Thorn, which I still love. The fact that he's related to Laurie. The fact there's this whole family lineage. Because I think I'm stealing a line from an upcoming episode with Daniel Epler. There's only so many times he can get up. If he's human, there's only so many times he can get up. And so they kind of have to keep going to this kind of thing of, well, he's this, he's this, he's this. And every single time they do it, they retcon it. Like in part 4, no, it's not Jamie. It's Michael Myers is still back, but she's psychically connected to him.
He made her do it.
Yeah, he made her do it. In 6, it is Michael Myers, in the producer's cut at least, is the new Cult of Thorn. He's just going on doing his thing. Nope, we're not doing that again. So back to, as much as I love Halloween H2O and have nostalgia for it, they're not doing that. Even in the fucking end of H2O, you find out, oh no, that wasn't Michael. It was an ambulance driver. Ambulance drivers do not do well in this world.
No, they do not.
They really don't. Do not be an ambulance driver in Haddonfield, whatever you do. So they keep retconning it. And so I'm kind of wondering what they're going to retcon in. I mean, the new trilogy seems to be about kind of, even though it's meant to be retconning everything that's happened except for the first movie, it's embracing everything that's happened in the whole entire series. I mean, you've got that Halloween 3 masks. You have some Rob Zombie moments in the first movie. You've got, I swear there's a cult thing going to happen. Cult of Thorns probably going to come. Fingers crossed. I don't think it will, but fingers crossed the Cult of Corn comes back. So it is kind of that, or Cult of Thorn, not Cult of Corn. It is this, so yeah, they keep retconning Michael because every single time they step over this line of he's just pure evil, and they try to do something with it and move forward, they're like, no. We're okay, going back. So that's a kind of a fascinating process because that does not happen in other franchises. Well, Freddy's already evolved to a point so you can kind of do anything with him.
Right.
Jason dies and then comes back as a zombie, so that kind of explains him. Though Leatherface is always just going to be Leatherface, is always just going to be hanging around until someone bothers him, and he's like, "Fucking kids! All right, let me get up. All right, where's the chainsaw? Right, done."
Right.
So, yeah, okay, Leatherface doesn't change, but he's, for some reason, he doesn't have to. Michael Myers keeps. Yeah, I think you do have to evolve him a little bit. I don't know if you can keep him as this one pure evil thing, because you can imprint on him anything you want to. I just think it feels interesting in that way. But Halloween's just like, and we tried this, and no, we're not.
Right. It's a thing where, you know, it's a very lucrative IP. You know,
it is.
They want to keep it going, but it's like, where do we take him?
Yes.
You know, where do we do with him? Like where we could keep him going. So we could continue making money, you know, like instead of like let's try to have some artistic merit and value. No, he makes us money, so we need to keep him going. So we need to find ways to keep him alive. But it's like you can only stay within logic for so long before, you know, you're introducing cults or you're turning him into a zombie or a devil worshiper, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I liked what they did with him in Halloween 2018, where it's just like they forgot all that he's Laurie's brother. You know, they're not related, and he's just this crazy instrument of death. And then like we need another film because that one made us a lot of money, and we need to make more money.
Yes,
because you know, there's a lot of money on the table when it comes to Mike. And it's like we have to figure out how to make him, you know, just stay alive. But it's like logically that's hard to do because it's like you've seen in Halloween Kills, you have a whole mob of people that beat the shit out of him and fuck him up like just incredibly. And it's like, well, how does he come back from that? And it's like, well, something supernatural about him. And
he feeds off hate. That's what it. Yeah, it's a very clunky way to explain why he keeps getting up, but it is this kind of thing. And I think they keep trying, but unfortunately, Michael's at his best when he's just the shape. And I say this as a person who loves Halloween 2. I love Halloween, the producer's cut. I love 2. I like a lot of 2018. So it's kind of and I love H2O. There's this kind of thing where even though I love these variations, just give me Michael with a knife, and I'm just like, yeah, baby. Because I'm going to, it's worth a lot of money, and I'm that person who's going to keep feeding into it. I'm going to go to the next Halloween movie, always.
Yeah, like, well, most definitely. Like, of course, you know, he's an icon of horror, so I'm going to be there. But it's just like, how many times can you take us to the well where it's just like we're going to realize we're going in circles here.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, how long does it take before you reintroduce the cult of form? Like, they don't want to do that because everyone hates the cult of form, but it's like, what the hell can you do? Like, what can you do with Michael that we haven't already seen. Like, and like what David Gordon Green I think realized was the best way is there is no explanation to him in the 2018 version. He just is what he is. Like the beauty of it is that, you know, Laurie thinks there's some connection between the two of them.
There isn't.
Like, oh, he came back to get me, and it's like, no,
Satan just dropped him off at your house.
right. Like he's trying to kill you because you're there.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't give a shit who is who or what is what. Yeah. He just wants to kill. Like, to me, one of my all-time favorite moments in a Halloween movie is in 2018, where after he's broken out and he's reacquired his mask and he's killed those awful podcasters.
Giving podcast is a bad name.
Yeah, as we're sitting here recording a podcast right now, and shit, like, yeah, kill the podcasters.
Kill the podcasters.
wait. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wait.
Don't kill me.
Kill
those other podcasters.
Yes, I don't ask for advertising money. I'm in it for the love. They go them. Yeah,
right.
The double standard.
Like, yeah. Get them. They don't give a shit. We give a shit. We're fine. But when he gets back to Haddonfield and the block is filled with all these trick-or-treaters and parents and all that stuff.
I love the scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's looking around until he sees the lady in the garage, and then he goes after her. And you realize that's the most terrifying thing. He's looking who to kill. Yes. And he's like, who do I kill? And
the fact that the shot when he readjusts the knives in his hand is such a great moment, because you show him I'm getting ready. Boom. Yeah. And it's more random. Right. This one, yes, and as we've said before, he's on a mission. He's got an absolute goal in mind. He's going after Jamie, and that's what his goal is. Anyone in his way, and he already knows that he's got to kill the power, he's got to kill the phone line, and he's got to kill the sheriff's department. Those three, then he can just go for Jamie. And I love the fact that this is about the town. It broadens out to being about the town, which I really love, because you've said this is an ensemble piece, which it is. Everyone is after Michael Myers. You mentioned Michael Myers to those guys in the bar, and they are like, yeah, we have to go for him. The question, I think I missed it, and I didn't rewind to see if I was accurate. The guy who says, my boy didn't come home that night. Was he talking about Ben Tramer?
I believe he was.
Why isn't he pissed off at Loomis? Because that's my Loomis.
Yeah.
Michael Myers. No, that was all Loomis.
That was definitely Loomis's fault that Tramer got killed. Yeah. Definitely. But he doesn't know that. So it's like, yeah, it's Michael's fault. You know what I'm saying? And Loomis probably finds some weird way to say, like, oh, I thought it was Michael. So in a sense, it's Michael's fault because I thought it was Michael. So we crashed a car into him and blew him up and burned him beyond recognition. We have to identify him by his teeth. Yes. You know?
I was just like going, hang on a minute. I'm pretty sure that was Dr. Loomis who killed Ben Tramer. That was not on Michael.
Right, totally.
I just, it was just one of those weird moments, which this movie does a lot. I mean, it's a really great movie. And the more I watch it, the more I tend to fall in love with it. I just haven't seen this one as much as, say, 1, 2, and 3, which I think tend to have my heart a little bit more. But every time I watch this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, this movie's really good. This movie's really fun. I love the characters. I love when Rachel like throws coffee on Kelly, and Kelly just this amazing line of just leaning into it going, yeah, this is not the first man you're gonna lose. She owns the fact that, yeah, I wanted to sleep with Brady, so I slept with Brady. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah,
I love that moment of like teen drama. Yes. And it's like, you know, and it's real quick, so it's not like we don't get bogged down in it, because this movie's incredibly efficient. But I love that they're like wise up Rachel, or Brady won't be the only man you lose. You know, I love that exchange. I remember Patrick was like, hey, when I was talking about it on Twitter because I was rewatching it, like, because I watch this film often, and like the exchange, she was like, I have to do what's best for me. Don't you mean what you do best? And I was like, get it? Because she's a whore.
Yes.
And Patrick was like, hey, that's kind of harsh.
It is.
I didn't say it. Rachel did.
No, because I love the fact that when everyone comes into the house, like they're barricading it up, and she's obviously fooling around with Brady. And she goes, okay, get dressed. And then she just puts on her t-shirt again. I'm just like going, that's just telegraph. All right, you do you, girl. I love it. You are not ashamed about, you just don't want to, your father to catch Brady naked, but you wearing a t-shirt is fine.
Right. T-shirt, I mean, and her underwear, no bra, like, because they stuffed it under the couch when Sheriff Mika showed up, and then she's got no pants on, and it's just like, it's obvious what the fuck is going on here. And I know if it was obvious to Mika too, because
he does say something.
He instructs, like, you get upstairs, you start nailing this stuff, and as Brady's walking away, oh yeah, I catch you groping my daughter, I'm going to use that shotgun on you. You understand? And Brady's like, yeah.
Yep. And now I'm locked in the house with an angry dad. It's just moments like that make me kind of realize I want to keep watching this movie again, because it's those little character beats that everyone gets that you're just like, yeah. I mean, they didn't have to give Kelly or Brody those little moments of their characters, and I love that Kelly just owns who she is, and I love it. It's kind of hard to hate her, even though what she's doing to Rachel is awful. She's just kind of like, well, I am who I am, and if you're not going to sleep with Brady, I am. So that is how it's going to work. And then that is the movie didn't need to do that, especially with how efficient this thing is, and it does, and it's really cool. Anything else you want to say about Halloween 4 before we move on to the big guns?
No, I think I've effectively stated just how much I love this movie.
You did.
I love it so much. It is one of my all-time favorite films, as well as my all-time favorite slasher movies, as well as arguably my favorite film in the franchise. Like, I still keep going back and forth between that one and the first one, but I just love Halloween 4 so much. I love this film to death, and that's the best I can say.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, and with that, we're going to be getting into one of the most influential movies of the 80s. It's James Cameron, who just keeps making the biggest movies of all time, and then keeps re-releasing them, so they stay the biggest movie of all time. That, of course, is The Terminator. Now, curtains are back opening. Rob, what on earth do you show as your first trailer for The Terminator?
I'm going to go with Albert Pune's 1993 sci-fi action masterpiece, Nemesis.
Yes!
Alex Rain is a human being. His life is more dangerous with each sunrise.
Alex Rain will be destroyed somehow, some way.
He should die for what he's done.
Get out! In a future false world, he stands for truth.
He's a cop, all right.
In a violent world, violence is his life. He knows he must face the human condition alone.
It takes more than flesh and blood to be human, Alex.
I can't feel anything anymore.
Yeah, perfect. Explain, please. Nemesis has come up a few times, but please, this movie needs explanation.
Oh yeah, yes, I love Nemesis so much. I love this film. Of course, it is the tale of part man, part machine, the future officer Alex Rain, played by the great Olivia Grenier, who is basically struggling with he's very human on the inside, but like the rest of his body's more machine than man. And like, it's an incredible story about like trying to find how human you really are as you become more machine than man, and retaining that humanity. But it's also a badass action film where Olivia Grenier kills a bunch of cyborgs while dual wielding and doing martial arts kicks and just incredible action sequences. And it is just one of the all-time great action films, as well as one of the top tier indie action films. Like, it did have a tiny theatrical release, but it's considered a direct-to-video film by most parties. and I guess that's close enough. So it's like one of the all-time great direct-to-video action films ever made, and like one of probably arguably Albert Pune's best film. Of course, as you've seen, that Albert Pune is just a very popular topic in action Twitter. Love Albert Pune and his films. He's one of my all-time favorite filmmakers, as well as our great friend Mike Scott from Action for Everyone, pure Pune fanboy, as well as majority of everybody else, Frank Billy, TJ, Brandon. Just we love Albert Pune, and it's one of an iconic film from that iconic filmmaker. And yes, I felt getting into the Terminator, of course, the inspirations are all over Nemesis for the Terminator, especially for the fact that they use the same special effects company, Fantasy 2 visual effects. With the stop motion, and of course, it's just reminders all over the Terminator, which we would get into. But I felt like that was the most appropriate to bring up Nemesis as my first trailer for Terminator.
No, I still remember seeing this for the first time, and it was something for Patrick Bromley. I think he did a live tweet on his birthday because it was during lockdown. I mean, the whole world was actually locked. Well, most of the world, I would say, was locked down at the same time, which really happens. It's never happened. So, and he goes, I was like, I've never heard of this movie, Nemesis. I think I know who Albert Pune is, but I don't think I've never heard of this movie. Sat down and watched it, and I didn't know how to take it because Albert Pune has a very distinct imagination of how he can use his influence and then to make it something that you've never actually seen before. And that is Nemesis. Like, even though I recognize the John Woo, I recognize the Terminator, I recognize all that, I'm still like going, I have never seen anything like this, and I don't know how to take it. Why is Olivia Grune's hair changing like 5 times during the movie? But
it does change a bit.
Yeah, not even 5 times, but there's a few changes. But no, I've learned to love this movie, and I've really learned to love Albert Pune just because there's no one else like him. And he's one of those directors that you just watch one of his movies and you're like, holy shit. So that set of choices came out of someone's brain and it was his. That's kind of incredible. So no, that is a perfect trailer to show for this movie. My first trailer, I wanted to go for a Roger Corman produced movie, only because James Cameron is one of those guys who came out of the Corman school, and Terminator does have a slight Corman feel, even though it was not produced by him. It was actually produced by another kick-ass female, talking of Halloween, Gail Ann Hurd, and it is, but there's a Dick Miller sighting, which I was very excited. I always forget Dick Miller's in the Terminator, but I wanted to go for Battle Beyond the Stars.
Ruthless invaders, a defenseless planet. Battle beyond the stars. The story of a boy who finds more than he expected. Right there. And all he can handle.
Does your species have kissing?
Oh, yes. We have that.
Which James Cameron did the set design for.
Yes.
And did it so well that Corman decided to use it in about 3 or 4 of his other movies, just the same set. But Battle Beyond the Stars is essentially the space version of the Magnificent Seven, the Seven Samurai. And it's really good. James Horner does the score, which he would go on to work with Cameron many, many times in the future. I just rewatched Avatar, and I forgot how much that score just completely, oh my God, the Avatar score is amazing. And I think it just kind of really sets up this kind of very homemade science fiction movie, which even though the Terminator looks like $1 million, it was a low budget science fiction movie that just looks, because it's the freaking Terminator. So yeah, that is my first trailer.
Yeah. I have to be honest, I've never seen Battle Beyond Stars. I know, shame on me.
Yes, shame on you, Rob. How dare you?
Shame on me. I'm very aware of its production and what it is. I just haven't got around to it, but I definitely need to see it because I know it was Corman's most ambitious project. Yeah, like that's probably the most money he's ever spent on a film.
Yes.
Was That'll Be on the Stars, and it's still a low budget production. And like, yeah, it's got a great cast, and of course, it's got James Horner. In which I mean, I love James Horner, but he wasn't above ripping himself off. So,
oh no,
part of that score showed up in Star Trek 2 and 3, which he did. Aliens.
Oh yeah. I think even Krull. I think it shows up in there.
yeah, it does. And I mean, it's a James Horner score, so it's great, even though it's like we've heard it before. We still want to hear it again and again and again. You know, and it's just, yeah, I definitely gotta, you know, me being like a sci-fi geek as I am, I should have watched it already because I just love space stuff. Like, you know, I'm a huge Star Trek geek.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I should have watched it already, but I'll get to it eventually.
It is good. I don't think it's the greatest science fiction movie ever made, but you do have Richard Thomas, you have John Saxon, George Papard, and Sybil Danning in there. So it's kind of like the collection of exploitation things. I think even John Sayles had a hand on the script. It is Corman's. Corman was a man who never wanted to spend money, and he did spend money on this. Not huge amounts. I think Terminator actually cost more to make than this one. But there is some DNA. You can tell the things that Cameron has learned from working with Corman that he's taken into making the Terminator. And I think it's a very important part of this movie. So I wanted to show a Corman movie. What is going to be your second trailer for the Terminator?
I'm glad you brought up Corman because I'm going to bring up another Corman.
Hey.
And this is me staying on brand. My trailer is 1991's Future Kick, starring the action icon himself, the main topic of my show. You could have been a Bloodfist movie, Mr. Don the Dragon Wilson.
I hate it when you go to Earth.
Earth 2025.
The order was a white female, mid-20s.
Human body parts are the hottest commodity.
It was a slaughter.
And lethal games the cheapest thrill. International box office sensation Don the Dragon Wilson, WKA World Kickboxing Champion. Black Belt Magazine calls Don Wilson the greatest kickboxer of all time. Future Kick.
My husband was murdered yesterday. His heart was cut out.
We'll find something.
That's not enough.
A desperate woman hires an android bounty hunter to track and eliminate her husband's killer.
I'll pay you $50,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Future Kick is basically like it's you know, there's some Terminator in there, but there's also some Blade Runner in there, and it's also I like to say it's like a low budget version of a Paul Verhoeven flick. It's like Blade Runner if it was directed by Paul Verhoeven on an extremely low budget. And it's a great sleazy, violent, post-apocalyptic sci-fi action martial arts action film, which of course stars the Dragon, Meg Foster, Chris Penn.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic little mean and nasty film, and it's very efficient. It's only like 70-something minutes. And it's one of the films where I was introduced to Dawn the Dragon Wilson because my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she had it in her VHS collection. And like, you know, every time I would go over to her house, I would mull through her VHS collection. Of the VHS collection, which I now own after she passed away, I inherited her VHS collection. So now I have that.
That's
VHS I have that VHS of Future Kick in my possession now. So it all worked out. It came full circle. So it was like, so that's why I'm glad you brought up a Corman production, and you know, as well as it tracks because Cameron came out of the Corman camp, and like, you know, it's sci-fi film about cyborgs, and that's a sci-fi film about cyborgs, and it's produced by Corman, so it incredibly tracked. So I was like, yeah, let's do Future Kick, you know, with my man the Dragon himself. It was like it was just fitting.
This movie is kind of how I first heard of Don the Dragon Wilson. I only fully clicked when you started your podcast. This is how thing I am. But there's an episode of Community, which becomes a running joke that they love this movie called Punch Kick or something or other. And it's because Dan Harmon loves these kind of movies. So he was always sneaking them into Community. And this is kind of that is actually based on a couple of movies. It was Future Kick and it was also Future Force with David Carradine, which Dirk Marshall is a huge fan of that movie. But it's that kind of, the whole thing was meant to be kind of making fun of it, but because it's Abed and Childish Gambino beginning on his Troy, they generally love this movie. Like they generally love it. Like I think Dan Harmon generally loves these kind of movies. And so that's kind of where I got my first inkling of Don, was through a really weird reference in Community, because I had to look it up and go, is this movie real? Is this based on an actual thing? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, Future Kick rules.
Yeah, no, it's really on my list. I need to check it out because it looks, it's Nick Foster and Chris Penn. I mean, seriously. But no, that is, and it actually really fits into what the Terminator is. My final trailer, my partner gave this idea because he goes, why don't you just pair the Terminator with Highlander? And I went, brilliant trailer pick. I'm doing it. So I'm going Russell Mulcahy's Highlander.
From another time comes a man of great power.
Talk funny, Nash. Where are you from?
Lots of different places. A warrior of incredible strength.
You've the devil in you.
We've been kinsmen 20 years.
Connor MacLeod was my kinsman. I don't know who you are.
Because you were born different, men will fear you, try to drive you away.
A man uncertain of his future.
What you got here, Brenda, is a guy who's been creeping around since at least 1700.
It's not possible.
And haunted by his past.
There can only be one. I have not seen this movie in years, but I think I'm due for a rewatch because I forget how that crazy Highlander actually is. But then it's Russell Mulcahy, and he makes batshit crazy movies. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Highlander is one of my all-time favorite movies. I remember being a kid and watching that an extraordinary number of times.
Yeah.
I love Highlander so much. It is of course you have Christopher Lambert,
yes.
Sean Connery. You got the great Clancy Brown in there. Mm-hmm. He's playing the Kurgan, one of the cinema's all-time great villains. It's better to burn out than to fade away. I love that scene where the hooker comes into his hotel room. Hi, I'm Candy. Of course you are.
You are.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful piece of cinema. You are right about Russell Mulcahy making batshit crazy movies, because then you could just look at Highlander 2, The Quickening, which is an insane, everything about that movie is insane. When you think about it.
Oh yeah.
That movie is just completely insane. But I love that film as well. I'm probably in the minority because I know a lot of people hate Highlander 2, but I love it. Highlander is an undisputed classic, and I just worship the ground that movie walks on. I love Highlander.
Yeah, it is a movie I used to watch a lot as a kid because it was always on TV. It was and that's kind of where I just learned to love Christopher Lambert, because I'm just like, oh, he's the Highlander. And then you get older and realize that this whole generation of people, much like the Terminator, or more specifically, probably Terminator 2, that just grew up on this. And that is their touchstone for their childhood memories of childhood thing, is watching these kind of R-rated action movies. And sometimes it is something like a Rapid Fire or a 1980s one that people got to see, but it's more in this late 80s, early 90s kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's a classic for a reason, because it's an amazing movie. And with that, we're going to be getting into, the Terminator.
It can't be bargained with. It will feel no pity, no remorse, no pain, no fear. It will have only one purpose: to return to the present and prevent the future. This weapon will be called the Terminator.
You're dead, honey.
What day is it? The date?
12th May, Thursday.
What year? I'm here to help you. I'm Reese, DN 38416, assigned to protect you. You've been targeted for termination.
What does it want me? Why me?
So how old were you when he came into your life?
Oh my God, I don't even know. Like, I was definitely.
He was always there.
Yeah. It's one of those films where it's like Terminator was always a part of my life. You know, I've had multiple. Like, as a matter of fact, Grandma also had the Terminator in her VHS collection, so now I own it. But like, you know, we also had it on VHS. Well, matter of fact, we had the Terminator on Betamax, so that's where I saw it, because I was always going through my parents' Betamax collection, because they had moved on to VHS, so they really didn't pay attention to the Betamax anymore. So I had free reign to just look through their Betamax collection. And like, you know, they had the original Halloween there. They had Dawn of the Dead on Betamax. They had Superman 3. They had so many films on Beta, Scarface with Al Pacino. And they also had the Terminator. So the Terminator was a film that I watched religiously all the time, because it was just there. So I could just, you know, watch it for free reign, you know, because my parents were basically very free with whatever I watched, as long as I wasn't watching movies that were like overly about like contain sex and drugs, because like I was forbidden from watching that. They were fine with me watching, you know, whatever, which of course led to me watching stuff like this and like Dawn of the Dead with heads exploding. It was like, yeah, that's fine. You can watch that, but you can't watch all this nudity and sex and drugs and stuff. We don't like that. So like, yeah, I would be watching Terminator all the time. Like that. And I remember vividly my father taking me and my sister to see Terminator 2. You know, being 7 years old when it came out and just being completely blown away. Yeah. Like I remember vividly in Terminator 2, where the Terminator shoots T-1000, and like, you know, like in like their first confrontation, and you know, he has the big holes, and then they start closing by themselves. Yes. Like the whole crowd, like, because it was a pack. I remember vividly, it was a packed crowd, and like the whole crowd was just like, oh, like it was like a wave of amazement over the crowd when the bullet holes start to close and he gets back up and starts fighting Arnold and all that stuff. So like, yeah, like that's one of my all-time favorite memories of being in a theater was Terminator 2. And then like, you know, I've kept up with series. Like I remember going to see Terminator 3 opening weekend, and Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis, and Terminator Dark Fate. And then after that, I had to, you know, obviously the first Terminator I couldn't see in theaters because it came out in '84, the year I was born. Yeah. I was only a few months old when the first Terminator came out in theaters. But local Alamo near me did a double feature of Terminator 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
Not too long after Terminator Dark Fate came out. Yeah. So I was able to see that screening of Terminator 1 and 2. So I can now say I've seen all the Terminator movies in theaters. And, you know, that's just like, you know, one of my favorite things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so proud of that. I can say I've seen all the Terminators, because the Terminator franchise has just been, you know, such a, you know, big part of, you know, me being a film fan. You know, it's basically a part of my DNA. You know, like I just love Terminator. I know I share that love with a great friend of mine, Chris Barreras. You know, we talk about our love of Terminator all the time. But yeah, it all goes back to the first Terminator, you know, which is actually my favorite of the franchise. I love the Terminator. I love the first Terminator. I love the fact that it's basically it's on borderline. It's an action film, but it's borderline horror. Cameron has stated that when he originally envisioned it, he kind of visioned it as like almost like a slasher kind of thing. And the first painting he ever did as a Terminator, he did it. He drew him like him at the ending where he gets severed in half.
Yes.
And he's chasing after Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton. Like that was the first. Like he did the first painting with him coming out the fire because that was when he was shooting Piranha 2, and he had and he was sick with the flu, and he had like a fever-induced nightmare. And that was of the endoskeleton coming out of the fire, which is something he visualizes during the climax of the Terminator. And like, that's where the idea ran. And then he did another drawing with Terminator 7.5, but like crawling after Sarah Connor with a butcher knife, because he was like thinking like, slasher film, like, because that was my original vision, was like, he'd be like that unstoppable slasher. And it's like, how do you make him unstoppable? Well, you make him a cyborg. And the idea kind of grew out of that, where it's like, this guy chasing this, young woman and trying to kill her. And like, it just evolved into this, full out action film, but it still kind of has that vibe of where it's like, it could almost be a slasher film if you just take the guns out of his hand and give him like stabbing weapons, and it's just basically, he's kind of cyborg Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, and like that's one of the things I love about the Terminator, is that it retains that slasher movie vibe, No,
it's really weird how suddenly you can change a slasher to an action movie by just the implement of murder. You change a gun to a knife, and it's a slasher. You put the gun back. Oh no, it's an action movie. It's fascinating how that happens. One thing I've learned about doing this whole thing is I love something walking in flames. Like whether it be the Terminator exoskeleton or the friggin' Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 2. I'm just like, yes, give me more of it.
Right.
Yeah. But it is, I had always thought I had seen the original Terminator. Like I remember, I know I went to the cinema with my dad to see T2. I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I thought, and then for years I just thought, I've absolutely seen the Terminator. This is a movie I've seen times. I actually sat down and watched it for one night random. Like, I'm in the mood for it. I think I heard it on a podcast. I'm like, let's watch Terminator. Sitting down watching it. No, this is the first time I'm actually watching the full thing. I'd obviously seen snippets. Because James Cameron has always just been part of everyone's childhood from a certain point, whether it is from Terminator, Abyss, Aliens, Terminator 2. He's like the more hard-ass, action-heavy Spielberg. Like he's always been part of your childhood. You don't even have to think about it. So I just assumed that I'd seen the Terminator. So 8 years ago, I sat down and watched it and went, no, I remember none of this. I don't remember that he's hunting every single Sarah Connor he finds in the phone book. I don't remember the bar scene. I didn't realize that it was Come With Me If You Want to Live was a callback to the Michael Biehn Come With Me If You Want to Live. I was just like, oh, this is the first time I'm watching this. I think I just assumed because it was a James Cameron movie and I have seen the sequels, a few of the sequels. I know what this is. I know. And it was amazing to watch the first time. And I went, oh my God, the Terminator, the original 1984 Terminator is a fantastic movie. This is not something that James Cameron took over in production like Piranha 2. This is something he built up from the ground. Like you're right. He designed this exoskeleton and he wanted something unstoppable. And he kind of did build on what the slashers were doing. And then he just took it to this whole other level. And then you add Arnold Schwarzenegger into the mix. And all of a sudden you have one of the most influential movies of all time. It is. And James Cameron keeps goddamn doing it. And this is him relatively young. I mean, he only directed like one movie for Corman. He was a set designer and he just decided, I'm going to make movies. And he kind of just did. And now, we're getting The Way of Water coming out this year. It's insane when you sit down and just watch the Terminator on its own and realizing what he is actually doing in that movie. And your jaw is still on the floor 30 something years later.
Yeah. He was unproven, so nobody was willing to give him a chance. You know, they had to fund it independently. It cost $6.5 million, which was a considerable amount in 1984, but it was still considered a low budget film.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I love it so much. I do feel that it's Cameron's most efficient film, you know, because of this film, you know, he was able to secure himself bigger budgets, you know, because it was just like, oh, this is the guy that made The Terminator. That's a great movie.
Let's give him Aliens.
Right, yeah. Let's give him Aliens, and then he does Aliens and turns that into a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, they would give him an insane amount of money to make The Abyss. And then The Abyss did okay, but it didn't do like, you know,
Aliens money.
Yeah. So like everybody was like, but then it was like, okay, I need to rebound with this. So he does Terminator 2, which was the most expensive film at that time. It was the first film to cost $100 million. And of course, that was just a smash.
Insane amount of money and made all the money. Yeah.
Right. It made an insane amount of money. And then, of course, he did True Lies, which I'm not that big of a fan of, and but you know, that was a big hit for him. Then Titanic, of course, which, you know, highest grossing film ever for a while. And then of course it took him like 12 years to do Avatar.
Yeah.
And that of course became the highest grossing film of all time. It's still now, Avengers Endgame overtook it for a little bit, and then
Cameron was like, fuck you, I'm releasing Avatar.
Right. No, the funniest thing about it is that people were like happy that Endgame overtook Avatar at the box. So I was like, I showed Cameron. I'm like, and I'm just like, that man does not give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think Cameron gives a shit about I got boo-hoo, I got beat by Avengers Endgame. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And then it's like, of course, look what happened. All he did was just, Disney, who now own the rights to Avatar when they bought out 20th Century Fox, they re-released it, and now that one's the Avatar is once again the highest grossing movie ever made. So it's just like, and it's like, yeah, that's why he doesn't give a shit, because all you got to do is re-release Avatar so he can take his top spot.
It's still making money. They re-released it, and I haven't checked the figures, but all I am seeing is people just going, Avatar rules. I'm like, yes, it does. That movie rules. Not in 3D. I don't like 3D, but it is. Yeah, he keeps doing it. I just remember at the time when Titanic came out, everyone is saying that this movie is going to bomb. It's the most expensive ever movie made. This is another Cleopatra. Yeah. This is going to ruin his career. It's the highest grossing movie of all time, and it wins 13 Oscars. I think it bet Ben-Hur in terms of how many Oscars this thing won. I mean, costume, design, edit. I mean, everything. Like Warner, I think won. I should check that. It won all the Oscars. So he could.
I got you. It was nominated for 14 and it won 11.
That's it. Yeah. Ben-Hur's nominations. That's right. And it is. And you watch Titanic, and as much as I wanted to be cynical about that movie when I was in my 20s, I'd watch it and go, "Oh God damn it, this movie's getting me." There's something emotional James Cameron can tap into, and he does it with The Terminator. You watch The Terminator. As soon as you meet Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton, you were all in on her. Like, you want her to be safe. You want her to get away. You're emotionally invested in it. And the first time you meet her, she's being a terrible waitress. That is like, there's this way because I know him, James Cameron can do this thing where he can make a scene that feels very conventional and the dialogue's very broad, but something about how he creates the visuals, you are suddenly sucked in. Right. And I'm still not entirely sure how, like, I know he's a master of geography. Like, you know where everything is. You know exactly where someone's going to come into. I mean, the scene we'll get into with the famous "I'll be back." You see not the policeman. You see, oh shoot, he comes up in T2 again.
The Dr. Silverman.
It's Dr. Silverman. walk out, you see the process, you see Arnold the Terminator come in, go, I'm a friend of Sarah's,
Sarah
let me see her.
Yeah.
Let me see her. And they're like, well, no, she's still doing stuff. You're going to have to wait. And then he just goes, I'll be back. And he is. That's what I love. He will be back. And he just drives through the thing. So you can you already can see him messing with the idea of, I'm going to show you how a process works. And then I'm going to show you how the Terminator destroys it, which he constantly does in T2. That is something that he'll show you the geography of a land. Like, okay, this is how people move around. And then the T-1000 just comes in and just goes, and I'm just going to go through walls. It's kind of incredible. And he's doing this in the Terminator. Like, he's already got that instinct of spatial awareness, which this is technically his first movie. He took over Piranhas 2. Like, Piranhas 2 wasn't his baby. Like, the director, something happened, and Coleman was like, I need you to step in as the director. And he's like, fine.
Not to correct you, Lindsay, but it was actually the opposite. He started as director, and like a couple weeks into production, he was fired.
Yeah.
I think he was fired actually twice from the film, and another director finished it, which is why he just owns that film, because it's really not his vision.
Yeah.
But he still says it's the best damn flying piranha movie ever made.
I knew something like that happened. Like, I knew he didn't finish it completely, and it's not completely his. But Terminator is completely his, and you can see him, because I haven't seen Piranha 2 in freaking years. But you can see Terminator, how he's just constantly, I don't know what it is about him, but he can be as cliche as anything, but I'm still bawling at the end of Titanic. I'm still really want Sarah Connor to be okay. I want Michael Biehn to be okay. I don't know. He's a genius in that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's incredibly efficient as a director. Like, I mean, so sometimes, like, not to like completely dunk on him, like he does get long-winded, like, because the Terminator is the shortest film he's ever made.
Yes.
It's only like 100 and something minutes, where everything else is
2+ hours.
2 hours. Yeah. Especially even with the fact that the theatrical cuts, Aliens was the theatrical cut was only 138, 39 minutes, but the director's cut is like over 2.5 hours.
Yes.
The theatrical cut of The Abyss is almost 2.5 hours, but the director's cut is 3 hours long. Same thing with Terminator 2. True Lies. 2.5 hours.
No business being 2.5 hours, that movie. I tend to love it more than a lot of other people, even though I get how toxic that movie is in terms of everything. Yeah. But I'm just like, I love this movie, and this movie should not be 2.5 hours. This is not that movie you do that with.
Yeah, it does get long-winded. He tends to get long-winded. Which is why I love Terminator, because it's just completely his most efficient film.
It is.
Because it's just like
he's in and out.
Yeah, he's sticking to it, the pace and all that stuff. But it's just, I think the beauty of Cameron, because he's become such a incredibly visual. I mean, he's always been an incredibly visual filmmaker, but like the way he just pushes technology, you know what I'm saying? He's the first one to use CGI convincingly in movies, with the water tentacle in The Abyss, and then the T-1000 and all that stuff, and then of course Avatar, which it's it's wonderful visual effects in that world. He just pushes the boundaries of visuals and all that stuff and technical efficiency, but he just also stands humanity. He also understands humans not really a lot of filmmakers too on his level. Like, you could compare him to Christopher Nolan, and I love Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan isn't really interested in humans like Cameron is. Cameron is interested, as technically efficient as this film is, as visually amazing as this film is, all this technology. At the core of his films is that he is human emotion and interaction and humanity itself, which is something he has from this film all the way into Avatar, and we'll see with the Way of Water, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be no different. He understands human interaction, he understands people. He understands all this stuff. And I think that's what makes him the iconic filmmaker that he is. He just understands how characters work, how humans work, how humanity works, you know what I'm saying, with like interaction between people. He understands that. That's why, you know, you could get wrapped up in the characters of like, you know, the love story of Sarah and Reese, you know, like the two people from different times, but they fall in love with each other over this, like, you know, incredible situation. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, you know, they fall in love, and it's just, you know, when Reese dies protecting her, it's a devastating moment.
It is.
You know, because like, you know, Reese is from another time and he's never known the love. Like, he's loved her from afar, to be up close to her, you know what I'm saying? You know, to being completely in love with this woman. And obviously Sarah is having trouble with her love life. You know, we see her kind of get dumped in the film, and like, you know, she goes off on herself, and like, you know, basically two people across different times coming together through this incredible situation and falling in love is really at the heart of this film. Like, you know, everybody's just, oh, like, yeah, Terminator coming and killing people, but it's really about this love story between these two characters, you know, and that's the beauty of it. Like, you know, also because it's the genius of it as well.
Yes.
Because, you know, of course, the story is that this Terminator has been sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor, who is destined to give birth to the savior of humanity, John Connor. John Connor is the one who sent Kyle Reese back to protect Sarah. And in the meantime, Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor fall in love, and they make love, which Sarah, of course, we see at the end, is pregnant with Reese's baby. So basically, John Connor sent his own father back to protect him and, you know, his mother. Yeah. So it's like it's such a brilliant plot where it's like, you know, and like she even discusses that at the end when she's recording this tape, so John can listen to later. But she was like, you know, like, could you even realize this? Like, you know, would knowing this affect your decision to send him back? But if you don't send him back, how could you be? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, this wild, crazy idea to think of, you know, where like it has to be Reese to come back. You know what I'm saying? Because it only works with Reese because, you know, this is the man she falls in love with. And, you know, what she says, like, I think I will tell you, I owe him that. You know, and that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for amount of hours, minutes we knew each other, we loved a whole lifetime's worth. And that's really the core of this movie, this beautiful, you know, love story between these two time-crossed characters as they're being hunted by this murderous, emotionless killing machine. And that's what Cameron understands better than I think a lot of his peers, and which is why he stands the test of time, and is why, you know, to this day, people, I mean, we've been talking about this as long since they announced Avatar sequels are coming out. And as we're gearing up to the release of Way of Water, and like people are like, oh, Cameron, this is gonna flop, no one's gonna care. And it's like,
he's done this before.
Yeah, like he's been in this position before.
Multiple times.
The worst thing you can do is count Cameron out.
Yeah.
Don't bet against him, because you're going to embarrass yourself. Because this man understands audiences, he understands us, and he knows what works. So, like, just like, you know, however it does, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be disappointed. Like, yeah, it's going to flop, and when it doesn't, I'm not saying I told you so. I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to sit back and laugh and just be like, you stupid bastard, you.
Yeah, because they keep saying that about him, and he keeps making the biggest movie of all time. This is like multiple times this has happened. People doubted Avatar, and then it made all the money. People doubted Titanic. No, I think he does, because he's a romantic at heart, which I always find very strange every single time I watch an interview with him and I hear stories of what he's like on set. Because he's very to the point. He's pushing his actors as much as he's pushing the technology. I mean, you hear stories of The Abyss and poor Elizabeth Mastroianni having to go through the CPR scene 20 times. They're wet, they're uncomfortable, they're doing a lot of underwater stuff, and then her chest is being pounded multiple times, and she's like, can you stop treating us like animals? And James Cameron is very, very famous for being a really taskmaster on set because he expects you to be perfect. He wants it shot as way he wants it. But then all his movies have this very strong, loving, romantic female character who you instantly fall in love with. I mean, Zoe Saldana in Avatar is everything. Kate Winslet and Titanic is everything. Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver in Aliens is everything. I mean, the fact that that is a story about two mothers protecting their babies and they go at it. And you fall in love with Sarah Connor in both versions. You love her in Terminator when she's this wide-eyed innocent who's kind of realizing, who's falling in love for the first time, who's realizing the world is bigger than she ever realized and that she has a part to play in this. And also in Terminator 2, when she's this hardened, cynical, almost broken human being because she's been screaming at the top of her lungs, end days are coming and no one is believing her. So she's having to like get ripped like a friggin' bodybuilder. And so she can protect her son. He knows it's a similar archetype for all these movies. I'm not going to lie, but it works because it taps into something incredibly maternal, which I still can't quite coincide how this man who I see in interviews, who is very stern, can kind of just replicate, and it works every single time I see it. Because Sarah Connor is one of the great movie characters. She just is.
Oh, yeah. Sarah Connor is one of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema. Like, that's purely due to, like, I mean, of course, Cameron's writing, but that's purely due to Linda Hamilton's performance. Like, I think it's more credited to Terminator 2 because she's such a strong figure in there. And, like you said, she's completely broken, where, like, all that's left is we have to stop Judgment Day, to where she's basically alienated her own son, the son that, the son that, is destined to be the future. And, like, she has to protect. She's alienated him to where at the beginning of the movie, he hates her. He's like, oh, she's a total loser. And, and then, like,
psycho, she keeps telling me all this stuff that I can't believe. And
and, like, and then he has that realization, oh my gosh, she was right. And nobody believed her, and even I rejected her, and then, like, you have that moment where they rescue her from the asylum, whatever, the mental institution, and like they have that moment in the car where it seems like she goes to give him a hug, and he goes in there lovingly to hug, like, oh, mom, and then he realized she's only checking him to see he's hurt. It's like she's not seeing him as a person right now. She's seeing him as, like, almost like commodity. Where it's like, are you okay? Like, and then, like, you cannot risk yourself even for me. Do you understand? You're too important. He's like, but I had to get you out of there. She said, I don't need your help. I can take care of myself. Where she's like almost like dismissive of him, and he's just like, and that's an amazing scene because it comes up later where she realized I have to stop Judgment Day, so she goes to Miles Dyson's house and she tries to kill him in front of his wife and his son, and then, like, she realizes right there, oh my God, look what I have become.
I'm now a Terminator.
I'm now just as inhuman as that machine is, like these machines, like, I'm going to murder this man for something that he hasn't even done yet in front of his family, and it is that just that moment of clarity breaks her, saying to where she's like, shh, 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 and then just crumples up into the corner. And it's just like, and like, that's an amazing moment of storytelling, what I'm saying? Because Cameron is a master storyteller. Also a great moment of acting in Linda Hamilton, what I'm saying? And it's just like, Hamilton is just such an incredible performer, because, like, even in this one, she hasn't realized it yet. Like, she's living her life as a woman of the 80s, and
big hair, closer to God.
Right, big hair, acid wash jeans, tie-dye shirts, all that stuff. And then she, has this, tale told to her that she's going to be as she says, quote to quote her, the mother of the future. You know, and then it's like, but you see, as you go along in the movie, you see the inklings of who she would become in Terminator 2, where, you know, she's become like this damsel in distress that kind of needs to be saved. I mean, she's not essentially like completely helpless. She's not Willie Scott in Temple of Doom. It's just like, you know, you got to be dragged along, even though, like, you know, Reese is efficient in his protection of her. Like, yeah, come with me if you want to live. But like at the end, when Reese is kind of disabled and he can't really protect her as efficiently as before, and she has to basically take over, to where she's commanding it, move it, Reese, on your feet, soldier, on your feet. And it's like, there she is.
Yeah.
There she is. That's like, you know, where she's like, I can't see it. Like, I can't even balance my checkbook. And it's like, there you are. That's who you are.
Yeah, because at the beginning, she is a mess. She is in her 20s. She's living a life, and everyone in their 20s is generally a mess. Like, they don't know how to balance their checkbook. They don't know how to do their job correctly. I mean, I love the kid who pushes the ice cream in the pocket, and you just hear the ADR, good job, kid. Like,
I should give you the tip.
I should give you the tip. Like, she is just not control of her own life. She doesn't have to be at this point. All she wants to do is go out, date, have fun, have her with her pet iguana, and live her life. She doesn't really have any
because at that point in her life, she thinks she's got her whole life ahead of her. You know, saying like, oh yeah, I could, you know, I got time to do anything, and then you realize
I don't need to worry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you realize you get told that time is limited. We only have a little time left. You know. And I'm destined to be the one to give birth to the savior of the future. And like, you know, that's kind of like, you know, just maddening to believe and get told like, yeah, the world is going to end as we know it. And this is going to happen, but you're going to be the one who's responsible for protecting us by giving birth to our savior.
Yes, it is. It is a very Virgin Mary story. Like, you are going to give birth to the child of God.
But and of course, not to cut you off, but of course it makes sense because, you know, both their initials are JC.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, John Connor. So
yes.
Yeah, so like, you know, that's perfectly on track, you know.
I skipped them. I didn't notice the most obvious. But yeah, she's very naive, she's very young, and then she gets this piece of information of, you're right, time is finite. You're not going to have much more time than this. This is what's going to happen. And then through the process, she has to learn how to stand up for herself. And that moment is when she's trying to get Reese on his feet, get on your feet, soldier. This is what we're doing. And when after Reese has died, she realizes, oh crap, the Terminator's still going. He's half a thing, but he's still crawling toward me and still has the power to kill me. So I need to figure out how to get into a situation where I can just completely try and destroy him for the moment, because like all horror sequels, there's a sequel, and we know that Dyson's gonna get creative. But yeah, I love that journey, and you see her and Reese fall in love. It's not like all of a sudden they're in bed sleeping with each other. You do see the process of them connecting, which I think is really sweet.
Right. No, yeah. The characters of Reese and Sarah Connor are just like one of those iconic romantic couples. Like, you know, people like people don't seem to think of just how romantic the Terminator is. Like when they're in the hotel room later in the film, and like he's telling her, like, you know, how he's coming clean to, like, you know, even before he met her, he was in love with her. You know, I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you. I always have, you know, and then realized, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. And like, you know, she realized right there, like, she truly loves him as well. You know, and that's the moment which leads to like, you know, her destiny, which is the conception of the savior of humanity, John Connor. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, and then it's like that, like, you know, they're going through this whole ordeal together, and that's like their one true moment of like, like that moment after, of course, like, you know, they've made love and do that incredibly 80s love scene.
To the point, I actually thought when you had sex, you had to grasp the hand on the thing. That's what I thought.
Oh yeah, right. No, most definitely. Like I thought that as well. I still do that.
Me too, actually. It's like ingrained. James Cameron ingrained in us that you must clasp the hand. That's how
you must. You must clasp hands and shit toward love making.
That's how you know you're making love.
Right. But like, what's beautiful about it is like they have this moment, like they have that, of course, the love making, where they realize they love each other and all that stuff, and then right before the Terminator shows up at the motel to kill them, like they have this moment like where they're getting dressed and they have like she tries to, hey, think fast, and he laughs and she laughs, and it's like that's their one true happy moment where they're just like, like like and then it's immediately ruined by the dog barking because they realize the Terminator has showed up, and then like they're back into survival mode. And it's like it's a wonderful like small moment for the two of them where it's like that one little moment where this is probably where they're the most happy because like they realize we love each other, and it's like there could be like if we could survive this,
there's going to be a better future.
Yeah, like there's something here for us, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can make this work. And then it's immediately ruined by the Terminator's presence. And like, up, back to reality.
Well,
and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then right after that, they go into the chase. Yeah, and then poor Reese is killed, saving her. And then it's just like, yeah, that's such a fucking bummer. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Though to be fair, Sarah needs to get off the phone. Like, she leads the Terminator directly to her twice. Like the first time is when, to be fair, she doesn't quite know what's happening. All she knows is that Sarah Connors are being murdered. Some guy's after her, so she calls her roommate. That is Ginger. Ginger. That is a completely understandable thing to do. By the second time, when I just like, you know what? I know my mother's worried about me, but I just need to stay off the phone.
Right. Like,
This guy is listening to my answering machine. I cannot. The second time, I'm like, okay, come on, Sarah.
Yeah, like that instinct, like I gotta call mom, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, you calling mom fucked it all up, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she's innocent at all, like she couldn't have realized that the Terminator would do that, would track her to her mother's house and then murder her mother and then, talk to her in her mother's voice.
Yes.
And like, so I can't fault her for that, but like, like you shouldn't have been calling anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like you should have just stood there in the fucking hotel room and took your shower and just chilled and waited for Reese to come back so y'all can make pipe bombs and all that shit. But no, you have to be chatty and call your mom on the phone and look, now y'all fucked.
Yeah, and now both times she gave the exact address. It's like, this is where I am. This is what room I'm in. So she doesn't know the Terminator is going to be doing that because who would in that situation? But at the same time, you're in a really fucked up situation because you're falling in love with a guy who knows how to make pipe bombs. And you've got this robot, cyborg after you. By the second call, I'm like, oh, Sarah, come on.
But that goes to the thing. She's really naive, like,
very naive.
She definitely won't make that mistake again after this incident. Like, especially like
doesn't trust anyone after that.
Could you imagine like something like that happening in Terminator 2 and shit? Like Sarah would have been like John doing that, like calling somebody and leaving the Terminator there. Sarah would have been fucking livid, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? She would have went crazy.
Do not talk on the phone every time.
Right.
John is
don't call anybody.
Don't call anybody. You're not talking to anyone. You're not doing this. So that is a nitpick, I realize, because I want her and Reese to be happy for a little bit longer, not just that tiny moment that they find. I want them to be happier longer because the Terminator was always going to find them, but give them a couple of nights before they have to run again.
Right, like I know you're not the only one because the producer of the film wanted Cameron to end it after the truck explosion, and we see like him perish we think we see him perish in the fire.
Yeah,
it's like, that's your ending right there. He's dead. The lovers are safe. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna live life happily ever after. And Carpenter, again with Carpenter, I got John Carpenter on the brain. Cameron was like, no, fuck you, this is my movie, and I'm gonna end it the way I want to end it. And it's like, yeah, well, we're glad he did because it led to Terminator 2. But I mean, it would have been nice because, like, yeah, I would have loved to have seen them, just go off and be happy because you always want to see, the star-crossed, or in this case, time-crossed lovers be happy. You know what I'm saying? Because they deserve it. She's been through a lot. Reese has definitely been through a lot.
Oh, yes.
When she's looking at his back and it's so covered in scars and burns and all that stuff. And, she just feels so sorry for him. Like, that he grew up in this world where it's just like, where it's like, where she's almost like, have you ever, like where she asks him, like, what are women like in your time? And his immediate answer is good fighters, survivors, that stuff. And it's like, that's his first idea of what a woman is, what I'm saying? Because he's never felt the love and the warmth of, being in love with a woman because he's loved her. Like, so it's like he's only really had her on the mind. And it's just like, it's the most devastating thing. It's like, because, you have this war to fight the future against the machines, but there's also like, so you don't really have time to fall in love. But you realize that even if he did, he wouldn't because he only loved her.
Yes. And there's this more painful moment you realize is what his life was like, is she's like, tell me about your world. So he tells the story about this devastating tragedy when a cyborg got into the bunker. Yeah. And that's his anecdote for, hey, this is what my life was like. I'll tell you a story. And it's a tale filled of tragedy and violence and having to just constantly fight all the time. There is no moment of reprieve. And there's always something going to be happening. And that one really hit me on this watch because like, oh shit, that's his story. That's his anecdote. That really shows you how hardened he is. That's because he's never stopped fighting, ever. He was born into the war. He keeps fighting. And now when he gets this moment of reprieve, that's all he can do with the woman that he loves because that's the only way he knows how to communicate what his life was like. It makes him such the more tragic character. Yeah. And the fact that he says, oh, what's a woman like? Oh, they're good fighters.
Right. He knows nothing else but war and pain and fighting. And it's just it's a devastating thing, so it's like this is his one moment to experience basically happiness, and happiness with her. Like, he gets to spend a night with the woman he loves, and then right after that it's back to fighting, back to being the warrior again. And it's like, but I mean, you take some sense of joy in knowing the fact that he at least had that one moment of happiness where they were happy together, for that one time, what I'm saying? He got to be with the woman he loves, basically. And, even if it was though incredibly short-lived, he did have that one moment,
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing. And then Schwarzenegger shows up with guns blazing and ruins everything. But,
that is
he's been doing that all movie.
That's what he does. That's his move. Even in True Lies, he just ruins everything by showing up and no. But yeah, I think that's what the James Cameron does. He does the mixture of the spectacle that you've never seen before. I mean, I could be wrong. I can't remember. I wrote down Stan Winston. He was the guy who did the specific effects for the Terminator, which means he did the very famous eye, which still works, by the way. I mean, yes, when you're looking at it face on, it looks like a fake face.
The puppet, the
puppet. But there's a way it moves that mimics what Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing. So it kind of moves in a very naturalistic way, but when he's pulling the eye out, that's still disgusting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Like I still like just like, and then I always get bugged out by like when they include like crunch sounds, like crunch. What I'm saying? And like when he's doing that with the eye and also with the arm, making sure it works and all that stuff. And then, but what I also love about that moment is like after he takes the eye out and then he puts the sunglasses on. Like the Terminator, he looks in the mirror and just like fixes his hair, and it's like really? I never knew the term a machine to just be like, oh yeah, is my hair okay? Is it? Yeah. Okay. I'm ready to go back out killing. Yeah, let's go.
Look good. I make this look good. No, it's even when he's in the hotel room. I think when he's just figured out where Sarah Connor's at the hotel. And the guy's banging on the door for some reason, and you just see the response. fuck off, asshole. And then he says, fuck off. Yeah. I think it's fuck off, asshole.
No, it's fuck you, asshole.
Oh, fuck you, asshole. I love that so much. I forgot how you could kind of see the detail I'm going to say this, now I say that.
Right, like the list of like, go away, I'm busy or stuff, and fuck you. And he just decides, oh, fuck you, asshole. and the dude's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't talked about him for a bit. And this is a good time to bring it up. But Schwarzenegger he only has 16 lines in the movie, but he's so perfect as the murderous Terminator. It's just that because you may believe, actors might believe, oh, it's easy to play emotionless, but it's the way that Schwarzenegger does it, where he just does it so effectively, playing this, emotionless killing machine that's just whatever, and he has those movements down packed and all that stuff, and he's so stern, and it's it's a wonderful performance, people might look at him better at Terminator 2, but I think him just being the villain of the film is where I think he's most effective. After he gets hit by chasing them, he gets hit by the truck, and then he gets into the truck and get out. And he's just trying to figure out how the truck, basically, because his CPU is damaged because he just got hit head on by the truck.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of okay, give me a minute how I could figure out how this goddamn truck works, so I could drive it and run them over. And just the way he has almost half his face missing, and he's just okay, I got it. All right, I'm gonna kill them now. Yeah. And he's just da da da. You know what I'm saying?
Driving a truck. Hello. He's kind of amazing because he was a bodybuilder, so he's always probably been very conscious on the way he moves his body.
Yeah.
So he's as the Terminator, he's very aware of, okay, if I move it this way, if I move this way, I'm gonna be and move my body. He's always that's kind of why he was such an amazing, or still is an amazing movie star, because he knows how to pose, essentially. Right. Which I don't mean that to denigrate. I actually mean that that's kind of part of what being on camera is knowing how you look in the right light and how you move and everything like that.
No, yeah, absolutely. He's used to that because, that comes from his experience with bodybuilding, how to look and move your best on camera. And he's effectively taken that and just made a whole career of basically looking his best on camera, but also using his limitations as an actor, to make it work for him, and picking roles that work best for him, where he could show just how good he can be, which effectively worked in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? He's taking roles with very little lines. But then, his
English wasn't great, so his
English wasn't great, and he wasn't very the best actor, but he used that to perfect his craft, where he's able to do roles now like Maggie or Aftermath, where he's just incredible in he's delivering incredible performances, and it's a testament to the actor. He started off very limited, but he used that to better himself, to become a better actor. And I think it's just the great thing about Schwarzenegger. He was always learning and just trying to do the best he can with the roles he was given. And then as he went along, he would take on something a little deeper and a little deeper, to the point where he was doing comedies like Twins and Kindergarten Cop, and he was doing emotional stuff like End of Days, which which is a great dramatic performance from him. You know what I'm saying? But no matter what he was, he always gave it 110%, even where it was stuff where it was limited. Where here he's like I said, he only has 16 lines. And what I've always appreciated about Schwarzenegger as an actor is that he's always understood the assignment, where he was initially sent this movie to play the role of Reese. They wanted him to play the hero. And he looked at it and he was like, nah, I don't think that role is right for me, and I don't like it. I want to play the Terminator. And his agents are like, no, he's the bad guy. And it's but it's the better part, and I could do more with this than just playing this hero. And of course, as the time has shown, that was the right decision because it basically, became his most iconic role. It also led to them casting Michael Biehn, who gave this phenomenal performance as Reese, and it was just a perfect thing. So it's like, I think Arnold deserves a lot of credit for why this film works the way it does, just because he was like, I don't want to play the hero. I want to play the bad guy because, like most actors would have been egocentric, where it's just like, no, I want to play the hero.
Yeah.
Like, look at me. I'm the good, I want to play the good guy. He's like, no, the best role in this film is the Terminator. And, yeah, I get, I'm the villain. I get killed. I don't care because that's the best role in the movie. Like he's concentrated on what's best for the movie.
He's always
yeah.
He's always had an eye for that, of knowing what's best for the movie, but also knowing what's best for him in that movie. Because he's not no, he actually is not a Schwarzenegger tall, or is he?
There's been thing like we're with what's the word I'm looking for? Contradictions, I guess. Yes. Is of how tall he actually is. Some say he's 6'2", some say he's shorter than that, some say he's taller than that. He's definitely shorter than Lou Ferrigno, which is why he lost the role of the Incredible Hulk on the television series to Lou Ferrigno, because Lou Ferrigno was 6'5", and he got the role because he was short. He was taller than Schwarzenegger, so he's definitely shorter than Lou Ferrigno. Okay, but there's been contradicting reports about how tall he actually is. I think he's at least 6 feet.
So he's actually kind of tall-ish because he's obviously been built like a brick house. So
right.
He always had that imposing kind of look, and he again knows how to hold himself. So he does probably look very much taller, and he does look way bigger than Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton. But yeah, he does look like an imposing figure, and he's always had this eye of going, actually, I know how to use my size. I know how to use the way I look on camera. I know how to make this work. He's always had a really good eye for that. I mean, the fact that Twins was a hit always surprises me, because even though I have nostalgia for that movie, I'm like, that's the dumbest movie ever. But it's independent, so I kind of love it.
Right. I remember seeing my parents taking me and my sister to see that in the movie too. Twins. I definitely remember seeing Twins. So it's like, I thought it was great, but like, yeah, that is it's a ridiculous idea that should not have worked, but it did. Yes.
Kind of like Kindergarten Cop, which takes his tough guy image and puts him in kindergarten, and then he's screaming, "It's not a tumor," which I think was actually the first. No, it would have been Twins, actually. I think it was Twins is the first time I came across Arnold Schwarzenegger. But yeah, it is. He is just such charismatic guy who can be funny, he can be sweet, he can be menacing. He knows exactly how to do it. And it's actually fascinating to watch the Terminator movie I adore, but actually realize how better those three actors get. You even just watch Michael Biehn in Aliens a few years later, and you're like, oh, he is even a better actor than he is in the Terminator. You watch Linda Hamilton in friggin' T2 and go, again, better actor. And then you just watch Arnold's career and time he gets to his later thing with Maggie and even The Last Stand, where he's giving these amazingly performances where he's not leaning on a shtick. Like he did. That was his whole thing. I mean, that's what all the 80s guys did. Stallone, everything. It's whether you could kick, splits, what kind of action hero you were. I mean, after, I think, was it Commando he did after the Terminator, or?
Yeah, he did the Commando the very next year.
Yeah, and that kind of, I mean, you always look at Terminator and goes, oh, this is what made him a movie star. I mean, he had already done Conan, which was a hit, but he was still more that up and coming, oh, he's interesting. And then it's the Terminator, and it's like, oh, okay, no, he's a full-on movie star. Okay, we need to put him in. And then he does Commando, and the rest is history.
From Commando, then Raw Deal, then Predator.
Yes.
And then Red Heat. But then he branched out and did Twins and Kindergarten Cop. And then by the time he got to Last Action Hero, he was kind of combining them, and
he was the biggest star on the planet by the time he did Last Action Hero. Yeah.
Like he just had Total Recall and Terminator 2 back to back. So he was just like the biggest thing in the world at that point. And then unfortunately, Last Action Hero bombed, so that all came crashing down. Like he even admits, because I read his autobiography, and he said that he feels like Last Action Hero doing as bad as it did was the beginning of the end of his film career. And like him being a major star, because it was just like, you know, the downward spiral. Like he did have hits after that. He had True Lies,
yes,
and he had Eraser, but it was like never the same again. Then of course in '97 he had Batman and Robin, and he just never recovered, you know, as a major movie star. Like he still had after that End of Days and The Sixth Day, and then like yeah, those didn't do well. And then, of course, Collateral Damage was a bomb. And, like, you know, he returned to the Terminator franchise with Terminator 3, which was a hit, but, like, you know.
Not well received.
It feels like basically like sloppy seconds of Terminator 2. And then it was just like, yeah, you know. And like, you know, he's just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew that was incoming, but, you know. Like, Schwarzenegger is an incredibly smart individual. You know, if you read his book, you just, like, you see how, like, this is an incredibly smart man, you know what I'm saying? Like, like especially with the film business, like you read like how he, you know, talks about the film business. He's just like, it's just really almost like brilliant when he comes in. It almost bugs me out, like why he didn't go into being a producer, but just how much he understands the film business. And like, you know, like you see Stallone doing it now with his Rocky Balboa Productions, and it's like, why didn't you do that years ago? Because you guys are so smart. Like, you could have took advantage of this, but you didn't. And, you know, I mean, y'all still iconic movie stars. So, you know, what the fuck do I know? But still, I still think, you know, they should take advantage. But like, yeah, Schwarzenegger, I truly believe that, like, you know, there's Cameron with his incredible story, but also this film stands the test of time purely due to the presence and the performance of Schwarzenegger, because, you know, he is the type of character. And like, he just created this iconic character with just almost complete silence. You know, like when he's introduced into the movie, like when he comes to the present, well, you know, in 1984, and the way he just looks around, and, you know, the way he moves his eyes, and, you know, it's like other actors might think that's the easiest thing in the world, but like, you have to do that effectively with just, you know, silence.
Yes.
You know, where you have to act through your eyes, and it's just like, that was always the beauty of him. Like to transpose that with it's the same point, but like in a different situation, like Kindergarten Cop, where he's doing that part where who is your daddy and what does he do? And like, you know, he's asking all the kids, like, you know, to reveal what does their father do. And the twin girls go, our mom says our dad is a real sex machine. And like, that's funny. But the funniest thing about that scene is when it cuts back to Arnold and he just has this look on his face. He says nothing. Yeah. But he just has this look on his face like, wow. Like, but like, he doesn't say a thing, but you can see the expression in the eyes is, wow, really? And it's the funniest thing. Like, I cry laughing every time it cuts to Arnold's face like that. And it's just like, that's the beauty of him as a performer, where it's just like, I love actors like that, where they could deliver immense performances without saying a word. Like Bronson was like that.
Oh, he was like that. Yes.
Yeah, and Schwarzenegger's like that, where he could deliver you a wealth of emotion purely through his eyes. And he does that to an incredible effect in the Terminator, even though like he's a machine, but it's just like you could almost see what he's thinking as a machine.
Yes.
You know, and that's true testament to Arnold Schwarzenegger as a performer.
As soon as he sees those punks, poor Bill Paxton. No,
yeah.
I might get this wrong, but Bill Paxton's the only guy who's been murdered by the Terminator, the Predator, and a Xenomorph.
Yeah. There is also Lance Henriksen, because Lance Henriksen is killed by the Terminator in here.
Yeah.
He's killed by a Predator in Alien vs. Predator. However, there is some discrepancy. I mean, at least for me, I haven't seen anybody argue this, but I always argue this. Whether it counts, I mean, I don't know if it counts. I don't think it counts to me. If he was actually killed by the Xenomorph, because he does get ripped in half by the Queen in Aliens, but he doesn't actually die. Like, he still functions. I mean, he's like you know, turned off.
Yeah.
But Ripley turns him on in Alien 3 to talk to him for a few minutes. Tournament Bishop, and he asked her to completely shut him down. He was like, I can be rebuilt, but I'll never be top of the line again. I'd rather be nothing. And she shuts him off. So to me, that counts as basically her mercy killing him because he still functioned by that point. I mean, you could say like, but that's because the alien queen ripped him in half. So like it's kind of her fault. And like, but technically it was Ripley who did it. Because,
He's still, if he's got the brain like the Terminator, he's still gonna, even with the arm, you find out the arm still, no, wait, the arm doesn't keep moving. It just sticks out.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The brain has to keep,
Yeah. That's can I also just say that's the iconic moment to me.
That is
when Sarah crushes the Terminator. Because this is he's like all this and he's still coming. Like he's in half.
Yeah.
And it's just like and she's like she can't walk, so she's crawling and he's crawling after her. And like this is pure like horror movie moment. Like the monster, the killer is still coming after the final girl. And it really pushes the horror vibes when she closes the gate and he reaches out to her like like he's trying to fucking like he's just trying to do something like I'm trying to strangle her. And then of course she hits the button with the iconic line, "You're terminated, fucker." And then it crushes him and it's just I cannot tell you how many times I rewinded that moment because I thought it was like so great. And there's many moments that I moved this movie I rewound. Of course, the police station massacre.
Oh my god, Lars Hedrickson with a shotgun is always going to be my favorite thing, and he's the kind of one you think might survive this. Like he's got this kind of street smarts. He's figured out that okay, we've got all these Sarah Connors being murdered. Something's happening. Okay, where are you? We're going to get you. Okay, I might be able to survive this. Nope, because the Terminator is going to take out Bishop.
Hey! Bang! You're dead.
You're dead. No, but this movie is just filled with iconic moments. I mean, there's a reason why Arnold Schwarzenegger throughout his career kept saying, "I'll be back." It caught on, and it's just that kind of movie. I mean, like Michael Myers, this is also a unstoppable killer who's on a mission. He's been sent back for a specific purpose. That is to kill Sarah Connor. And I love the first thing he does is go to the phone book. I don't know why that tickles me. And then you see the repetition of Sarah when she's realizing, hang on, more than one Sarah Connor. Oh no. She looks at the phone book and she goes, oh, fuck, I'm next. I'm the next Sarah. And it's this truly beautiful moment. And it works like a slasher movie. He is going around to place, going, I want to talk to Sarah Connor. They go, yes. And then he just shoots them. It's got that thing. And especially seeing, it's kind of hard to reconcile seeing this for the first time back in 1984 and not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Terminator's been, and the same with Terminator 2. I mean, they didn't even though the movie tries to hide the fact that Arnold's the good guy in that one, the marketing was just like, no, he's the hero.
Oh yeah, they fucked it all up.
They fucked it all up. And every time I watched it, I'm like, oh, would have been amazing to watch this movie and then have the moment when he goes, come with me if you want to live. That would have been amazing. But no, they had to fuck it up and go, oh no, Arnie's marketable now, so we need to make sure everyone knows going in he's the hero.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that like, and the thing is Cameron plays it so well, and like when they're coming from the opposite sides of the hallway and like who's the evil one, who's the good one, who's the evil one, until like he pulls out, they're both pulling out their guns, and then right at the moment where Schwarzenegger goes, get down, get down. Then you realize, oh, he's the hero, and it's like it would have been such an incredible moment. It's like, oh, he's the hero, but no, we knew that from the trailer. Yeah, thanks a lot, marketing. Thanks a lot for ruining the surprise.
Yes, thank you.
I've heard the commentary with Cameron and his co-writer on that film, William Wisher. It was like, yeah, we tried so hard to contain that, and marketing fucked us.
Thanks, marketing. That could have been an amazing moment. But no, I know there are stories of people, because there are a lot of people who were around in 1984, because 1984 was one of the most amazing movies for genre filmmaking, coming out of the States. And yeah, to see the Terminator and watch that thing unfold and just kind of watch watching, oh, I'm watching something special that no one saw coming. This is just out of the blue, and especially because I love the moment when because I love how the Terminator just kind of falls apart bit by bit. Like the first time when he's hurt his arm, so he just kind of slices it open, and then you just see the robotic tendons moving as he's testing them. It's such a cool moment, and and to see all that for the first time with fresh eyes, not expecting it, I can't imagine what that would have been like.
Yeah, that you know what I'm saying, because it's like you have to imagine audiences at that time, you know, just like, hey, like, you know, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we know it's about, you know, this guy's a robot from the future, but like, you know, to see stuff like that, like, you know, him performing like, you know, do-it-yourself home remedies on himself, where his arm is malfunctioning, so he's trying to get it to work again, and his vision is blurred because, you know, the eye is fucked up, so he has to cut out the eyeball so, like, you know, his actual robotic eye can see better. And it's just like I'm insanely jealous of audiences in '84. You know, who got to experience that fresh, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's like, yeah, we know the Terminator, you know, we know he's a machine from the future and all that stuff, and it's got, you know, metal endoskeleton underneath all that flesh, and it's less like, yeah, but like to experience that story for the first time would have been just a glorious thing, and it's like, you know, but I was born in 1984, so I got fucked.
I was born in 81, and I was not seeing the Terminator at 3 years old, so it's just like, is what it is. I mean, Terminator 2, I think audience still got that feeling, because with every James Cameron movie, you still get that feeling of, holy shit.
Like, because he's always trying to top himself, you know? So, like, yeah, you get that sense, like, you know, he's not, like, he has the same level of story beats pop up in all his movies, but technically he's not going to repeat himself.
No,
like he's always trying to push himself farther, even though he's still kind of staying within this same formula of storytelling. So, you know, there's, you know, he's the same but different, which I think is probably why he works, because, you know, audiences love staying within stuff they recognize the familiarity, you know, so they're not because, you know, like, you know, there's that thing where people just don't really will watch the same type of movies over and over again because they don't like being surprised, you know, like a surprise gives them anxiety, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it does that to me as well, which sometimes I'll spoil a movie for myself because,
me too.
I'm just like, I'm just like, you know, I have to know what happens because
look
I
at Wikipedia.
Same. I think Mike does that as well. Where he'll spoil a movie for himself because he just, you know, like the surprise will give him anxiety, like it does me, you know. So like that happened with me with Barbarian because I knew nothing of it. So it's like I was sitting there watching it on the edge of my seat, like, but you know, it comes with this thing where audiences are like that. You know, they love familiarity. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he knows to do that, where it's like he hits similar beats throughout every movie. But it's still different because everything around those story beats are him pushing himself farther than, or, you know, technical, you know, efficiency farther than it's ever gone before. So that's why Cameron just exceeds every time when, you know, people will fail, you know, because he's just a master storyteller and filmmaker, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, he may be kind of like a ego person, you know what I'm saying? Like obviously he has an ego because he keeps making the biggest movies ever.
Yeah, it's hard not to have an ego when you
right, but like he earned it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He earned it. I mean, he earned the right to be a dick because, you know, he's constantly delivering us the goods and shit, and, you know, like I said, it's unwise to bet against that man. So
very unwise. This man knows what he's doing with calculated thing. He knows why these story beats work. I mean, I still remember the first time I saw the T-1000 bubble back up or have the holes in there. I still remember the first time the Titanic broke in half. Just being completely entranced. Like, he knows how to make the mixture of soup. And yes, everyone goes through their phase where they're like too cool for Cameron. Like, everyone does. Like Spielberg, like I know I went through that phase. Like these are generic filmmakers, and you go back and like, no, they're not. They're just really good. So yeah, it's kind of that thing. And Terminator, watching it, it feels like so much like a midnight movie, which he's never made again. He has never done that again because he's like, oh no, I have money now. I don't have to do that. I can still put that same imagination in, but it's going to look polished. But Terminator has this amazing midnight quality, yet with such the imagination and such the polish that you can go, oh, okay, this director actually knows what he's doing. I feel very safe in his hands. Like there's nothing, like you said, some audience, like, yes, if I get a bit too stressed while I'm watching a movie at home, I'll fully just look up Wikipedia and just go, do. Yep. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay, cool. Now I know what's happening.
Same here. Yeah. Absolutely same here.
Not everything. Like I do remember being in a theater with watching Get Out and just me getting really stressed because I'm like, what is happening? Oh, wait. Oh, that's what they do. Okay. Now I'm back in. What? Okay. Back in now. Know what's happening. Just had to wait for that twist.
Right. Absolutely. No, I'm totally with you. Like I'm the same thing. I'm like, nope. I gotta find out what's happening. I can't deal with this. I'm getting anxiety.
Yeah.
Just I don't want to be surprised with what happens next. I need to know, does this person live or die? Like I remember I had a friend watching Godzilla versus Kong for the first time, and she texted me like, I'm watching Godzilla versus Kong, but you've seen it already, right? I'm like, yeah. Does Kong live or die? I'm like, you really want to know? Yeah, please tell me, because I can't help it if he dies. He lives. Oh, okay, thank you, God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I would have been the same way in your position.
I somehow knew. I thought I was watching the game. They're not going to kill Kong. There's no way. Yep, there he goes. He gets up like a tired old man having to go to another shift where he doesn't want to go to.
Right, absolutely.
But it is. Yeah, there's something like I'm not the biggest. Okay, there are certain things I don't want spoilers for. So I will purposely put my thing away. But when I want to know something, I will just kind of look it up. I'm like, okay, fine. I know what's going to happen. Though sometimes I will, as I get older, I'm allowing myself just to live in that moment a little bit. It's hard because it's really stressful because I'm like, no way. Okay, what's gonna happen? Like I can't read the movie. And I think what I want to know, if watching the Terminator for the first time, did you know how to read the movie, or was this just like a complete surprise? I want to know. People who saw the Terminator back in 1984.
Right, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, anything else you want to say about the Terminator before we go?
No, I think we covered everything. Perfectly. Like, I will say this. Of course, as you know, my mother has passed away back in June, and just to shout her out, I can hear her right, like, don't you dare tell people this. But she was a big fan of this movie, but her favorite shot in the movie is when Arnold arrives in 1984, and he overlooks the city, and you get his butt in view.
Yeah,
and she was just like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, my mother was rarely ever like that, but like, she loved that shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's ass.
To be fair, you could bounce quarters off that ass. That is like friggin' Van Damme in his prime in Universal Soldier, but that is tight.
Right. She definitely liked that moment and shit. And I could just hear it right now. I can't believe you fucking told him that. Sorry, mommy. Sorry.
No, that is just a natural instinct of just watching Arnold Schwarzenegger going, that man has not an ounce of fat on him.
Right. Like, yeah, like, I just wanted to say that moment, as tribute to her, and also like, yes, I agree, Mom. He did have a very nice ass.
It's sculpted.
Yeah, like a Roman god.
It is. He was sculpted like a Roman god. No,
but yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the Terminator is a masterpiece, and it stands the test of time to this day, even though it was made before only kind of technical advancements. And I love this movie so much.
No, this movie is amazing, and every time I watch it, I love it more because there's just an ingenuity in there that I think Cameron still has, but I think it gets hidden behind the fact that he is just because you forget that every single time he makes a movie, he has to make the technology to make the movie. He's done that since The Abyss. Yeah, I mean, even True Lies, which should not have been the most expensive, it was one of the most expensive movies ever made at that point. I'm like, dude, as much as I like this movie, this should not have been a 2.5 hours, $100 million movie. You could have done this a lot smaller.
Right, like, it's like with True Lies, it's like, you see the plot and then it's like, oh, it just cost like over $100 million and it's 2.5 hours. And it's like, why?
I mean, don't get me wrong. My favorite moment in movies is when Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, "But do you kill people?" Yeah, but they're all bad. It's
right.
Is it worth it for that moment and the Bill Paxton stuff? Maybe, but and Jamie Lee Curtis throwing flower water over here to try and make herself look sexier. Look.
Right.
There are problems with True Romance, and the biggest ones that should not have cost $100 million and to be 2.5 hours long.
Definitely. I will say though, it is worth it just to get Bill Paxton stuff.
Oh my God, that
Bill
stuff
Paxton is he's the bright shining moment in that film. Like everything he does in there is just the best. And oh God, I miss Bill Paxton so much.
So me too. Every when I get a small glimpse of him as a punk leader, that's how he's credited. I think it's just punk leader. I'm just like so happy, even if you messes with the wrong naked dude.
Actually, totally.
Yeah. Before we go, please tell people where they can find your good work.
Oh, of course. You can find me as the Cinema Drunkie at the Cine Drunkie on Twitter, that's my personal account. Also, the official Twitter of my show, you could have been the Bloodfist movie. You can find at Bloodfist Pod. Like I said, we're in hiatus right now, between seasons, but we'll be coming back soon with some new episodes, as well as just that Don the Dragon Wilson love that I like to show on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Because I just want to show Don the Dragon Wilson all the love because, he is the most legit action star of all time, in my opinion. But that's where you can find me.
Excellent. Please listen to the podcast if you haven't already. It's really, really entertaining and really in-depth, just like everything Rob does. Please give him a follow on Twitter because he's always a great follow. And thanks so much for listening to this episode. We've got way more Halloween stuff to go. It's very exciting. I've been enjoying this process so much just because everyone's got a completely different point of view on these movies. And this has been an absolute blast. And with that, we'll be back with another Michael Myers double feature. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.